Well, greetings, sorry about that. Again, technical snafus. Greetings, imagination connoisseurs. Once again, it is I, your Duke of Dope Discourse, your master of fun and wonder, your viceroy of verisimilitude, and your pharaoh of physical media, Robert Meyer. Burnett, this is Let's Get Physical Media, episode number 126. Now, I say it every week. I don't choke on my words, but I say it every week. It ain't a show. It ain't a show unless my favorite German, your favorite German, everyone's favorite German. He's going to give you the most enthusiastic, rock you like a hurricane you've ever heard, all the way from Saarbrücken, Deutschland, Mr. Dieter Bastian. Dieter, how are you?
Rob, I'm hoping I'm still everyone's favorite German after last week, and I say, greetings, imagination connoisseurs, Dieter here. Here I am, rock you like a hurricane, and welcome to the B&B Motel for Let's Get Physical Media. And Rob, I did some observations with Max Allen Collins, and I was happy to hear him say he had a good time with Let's Get Physical Media and the new arrangement. And he said, considering curating your collection, he will only buy stuff that he likes. Well, Max, I can tell you how many times I have said that to myself. With every new format that came out, I said, I will only buy the stuff that I like. And then one title showed up, that looks interesting. And that saying was gone. So Max, I could try it, but probably not. So Rob, how are you, my friend?
Aside from being roasted on Twitter from terrorist appeasers, no, just kidding. I mean, it's a different world than we had in last week. It's unfortunate all the way around. I mean, it's when any innocent people are being hurt en masse for any reason, we are all diminished. I mean, I've been saying on Robservations for the last 895.5 shows that in the cosmic infinitude of the universe, each one of us as individuals is the most precious resource that we have on the planet. There's only one of us in the entire universe. Even if we have a twin, they're not completely identical. And to see an amazing loss of life is never a good thing. And, if you really want to look at it, the uniqueness of everyone, the less people on the planet, that's less people to buy physical media. And after this week, we've heard that physical media is imperiled. Now, before somebody makes a joke about making a joke out of tragedy, we all know from Alan Alda and Crimes and Misdemeanors that comedy is tragedy plus time. And if it bends, it's funny. And if it breaks, it's not funny. But anyway, so
comedy, Rob. Hard comedy, like you told us.
Hard comedy. That's what people are looking for now. Hard comedy. And certainly there is a lot of hardness to find any comedy this week. I thought that, Pete Davidson hosted Saturday Night Live last night, and he had a very heartfelt. I mean, he lost his father in 9/11, and so he had a lot of good words. But other than that, speaking of tragic events, within the context of this particular show, let me just make sure that people understand. In this particular show, we cover a very specific topic. And we had some really bad news that was confirmed. I went to the source. First of all, before we get into this, I know you're going to want to know what happened in the American box office this weekend. But you also said to me...
Glad you were Swiftie.
That was pretty much it. That's the only thing that happened in the American box office. My good friend Cliff Stevenson, who's been on this show, Cliff Stevenson, even he talked about on Facebook how really well directed the Eras tour is. Yeah. I have not gone to see it myself, but that it's really, really, really well done, and that's good to hear. That is good to hear.
Europe, but you can't use your AMC stuff. You have to pay for the ticket.
I'm sure that you have to pay for the ticket because that's the deal that they made. I mean, whatever deal... again, this movie fascinates me from a purely business perspective because I want to know, one, I'd love to know how much they actually spent on the movie. Because the way I think about it as a producer is the cost of making this movie, to hire the director, to hire the editor, if the director, your editorial staff, the cameras, all the cameras, which are there anyway. It's a genius move because the entire cost of making this movie, the negative cost of how much it costs to make, can be written off as part of the tour. So the tour actually pays for it. And what's really interesting is reading articles about how how all of the places that she's played, how the cities that this tour has gone to, how much of an economic impact it's had, like with everything from parking to food. I mean, it's really amazing. So let's talk about just quickly the global opening of Taylor Swift's movie.
Exactly.
The Taylor Swift Eras Tour may have missed the century mark in regards to a domestic opening, but the 12-time Grammy winner was always guaranteed that number worldwide, with AMC reporting this AM that the Sam Wrench-directed concert pick has racked up 126 to 130 million. And the overseas opening is 31 million to 33 million, and AMC is reporting a range of domestic. This is the first time the circuit has handled a global theatrical day-and-date release of this magnitude. We never saw this hitting 200 million worldwide. Overseas was always going to be light, and at this point, it remains at the lower end of expectations. AMC is calling the domestic opening between 95 million and 97 million today. However, rival studios see it as lower at 94.3 million. At the latter level, it's the second best opening for an October movie. Anything north of Joker's 96.2 million stateside debut is an October domestic box office record. So if for some miraculous reason a lot of Swifties go today and it gets up past 96.2, it'll be the biggest movie opening in October history.
And I would should expect a good hold for the movie itself.
Well, people love going. It's they love dancing, and I just want to point out that the global opening for Joker was 248.4 million. So it's not going to beat that. But Taylor Swift conquering the box office. I mean, again, a genius move making this movie. Kudos to everybody involved. Well done. So
a win,
an epic win. And so, I think that's the way to go
for both sides.
Yeah, it's an epic win. You know, it wasn't an epic win, Dietz?
Best Buy situation.
Yeah, the Best Buy situation. So I figured, I got to make it a little bigger so you can't see your face behind you. What a messy show today. So I want to point out that I did, this was reported in Media Play News. I don't know if they were the first people to report it. They might have been. But the only reason that I went to Variety is because I did want to go to the trades. And I figured because just to legitimize, Media Play News is it's a very reputable outfit. But I wanted to go to the trades to get sort of a larger picture. So this is by Todd Spangler. It was published on Friday, October 13th at 4 a.m. Best Buy to end DVD and Blu-ray disc sales. Now, one of the things that surprised me about this is you and I both know that Best Buy has been very vigorous in getting exclusive steelbooks. Their steelbook sets for the last number of years have been great. They've been really, really good. And I was really surprised to hear this. I was surprised, but not surprised. I mean, this day was always coming, but here's what they say. The consumer electronics retailer will phase out sales of DVDs and Blu-ray discs, both in-store and online, in early 2024, according to industry sources familiar with the company's plans. Best Buy made the initial decision to end DVD sales 9 months ago, according to one source. Now, DVD sales, remember, are... If you look at our chart, this is the chart for this week. DVD sales are the biggest, most robust selling physical media format. Even this week, the week ending October 7th, with some great banger 4Ks and Blu-rays, it almost doubles. Well, not almost, but I mean, 47.4% compared to Blu-rays.
Almost.
Yeah, I mean, that's a lot. And so for them to have decided to get rid of DVD sales, but the thing is also at Best Buy, I don't think as an electronics store, I think Best Buy is not the place that people even went to buy DVDs. I mean, Walmart's selling DVDs. Families with kids are buying DVDs. DVDs are really cheap now, $5 or something. As our friends, the unofficial sponsor of this channel, Kino Lorber, they're actually, they're really kind of I'm going to say it. Kino Lorber and Warner Archive are official sponsors of this channel because they keep sending me things. That's a sponsorship. So Kino Lorber and I have no problem shilling for either company. You want to call me a shill? I am. I am a shill because they are both doing great work, and I'm happy to shill for people that are doing great work. Anyway, Best Buy confirmed Friday that it is ending sales of DVDs. To state the obvious, the way we watch movies and TV shows is much different today than it was decades ago, a Best Buy spokesperson said in a statement to Variety. Making this change gives us more space and an opportunity to bring customers new and innovative tech for them to explore, discover, and enjoy. Best Buy will continue to sell movies and TV shows on physical discs through the 2023 holiday shopping season online and in stores before discontinuing sales in the new year. I would say that means pretty close to the opening of the new year. Why would they begin 2024 and still sell these things? The company will continue to sell video games. As of mid-2023, Best Buy, which makes sense because each video game's $56 or something.
Yeah.
As of mid-2023, Best Buy had 1,129 store locations, with 969 of those in the U.S. News of Best Buy's ending DVD sales was first reported by home entertainment blog The Digital Bits. That's Bill Hunt with the scoop. Good job, Bill. The move comes as Netflix, 25 years after launching its pioneer DVD by mail service, shipped out its last DVDs to consumers on September 29th and let them keep their final discs if they choose to. Best Buy, I kind of feel bad that I didn't get a final movie from Netflix just to have whatever that was that I could show up. I mean, I'd love to know, for any of you out there who are watching this show, please send in to postgeeksingularity.com. If you got a disc from Netflix, what was the last disc you got from Netflix? Dietz and I want to know. What was the last movie?
Which one could you keep?
Yeah, Best Buy's exit from the market will leave Walmart, Amazon, and Target as the top retailers in the U.S. stocking DVDs and Blu-ray discs. Barnes & Noble tweeted out, by the way, that they are going to continue to sell discs, probably because they make a fortune during the Criterion sales.
Yeah.
Also still in the physical game is Redbox, now owned by Chicken Soup for the Soul Entertainment, which maintains a network of about 29,000 DVD rental kiosks nationwide. Amid the ascent of streaming video, sales of DVDs and Blu-ray discs have been shrinking for years. U.S. physical media in the first half of 2023 dropped 28% to 754 million, compared with 1.5 billion in the year earlier period. So that's astonishing. Let's read that again. So let's contemplate this, Dietz. U.S. physical media revenue in the first half of 2023 dropped 28%, below $1 million for the first time, to 754 million compared to 1.5 billion in the year earlier period, according to data from the trade association DEG, the Digital Entertainment Group. Ingram Entertainment, a leading DVD distributor, recently announced that it would wind down operations after more than 35 years in business. The company said it will continue to provide catalog product to customers into the fourth quarter of 2023. Meanwhile, Walmart has been in talks with DVD distributor Studio Distribution Services, a joint venture of Universal Pictures and Warner Brothers, to assume management of portions of its physical media operations, Media Play News reported. I mean, if you think about that, hold on, I don't know why you're there. This is a sloppy show. Here's the thing that is amazing. The entirety of the physical media, the first quarter of 2023 compared to the first quarter of 2022, dropping underneath $1 billion. So if you look at, let's just call it 750 million per quarter. Yeah. That's going to be 3 billion for the year, maybe. If you look at it that way. And if you think about that, of that business, the studios, whether it's Disney, Paramount, Warner Brothers, Lionsgate, they're not going to, for the year, they're not going to even make $1 billion. Now, that seems like a lot of money, but compared to the heyday of disc sales, it's, I mean, you'd think like, well, why would you not want to make that kind of money? But who knows what sales you're actually making? I mean, that's DVD sales too, and there's a lot more things on DVD that are being sold than Blu-ray and 4K. So the studios, I mean, even I have to say that the studios are not making the kind of money and the margins they need to make the disc business viable. Now, the other hand on that is you could say, well, what about like Kino Lorber's release strategy? They've been banging out 4Ks of Paramount titles, of MGM titles, of Universal titles. I mean, they're getting all kinds of things that they're putting out. I'll talk about that later because I watched a new one of their 4K discs that hasn't come out yet. Yeah. They've been doing a ton of stuff, but the numbers don't lie. And it's not going to be like Mondo, who can put out vinyl or all these other companies, because it's a lot more expensive to license movies and put them out. So boutique labels are going to have a much harder time. And even when you think about boutique labels, horror and science fiction will sell. I'll talk about that a little later because I bought my first Film Vault title, and they made 6,000 copies of it. But 6,000 copies, even if you sell 6,000 copies for $100, I mean, that's not that much money. And how does a company that's going to license a title, manufacture it, and ship it, 6,000 titles, 6,000 copies of a title is a lot to sell. And the same thing is going to happen that happened with like soundtrack sales. Like Lucas Kendall will tell you that when he was doing Film Score Monthly's releases of classic CD scores, there was 3,000 people in the world that would buy every single soundtrack that was released. Now the last time I asked him about this, he said now there's about 1,000. Because the people that bought soundtracks, kids aren't buying them. They're not buying CDs. They're listening to everything on, whether it's streaming services, Apple Music, Spotify. So we are going to see, I thought that the PlayStation 6 was recently announced. It's not going to have a disc player. They're not going to have a disc component to it. So what the Xbox X and the PlayStation 5 extended the life of physical media. I mean, we're going into 2024, and we'll probably have a viable disc market for another 5 years. I mean, if you look at how many people are even...
Think so too. Yeah.
When was the last time electronics companies were putting out new players? So it's not just the discs that aren't going to get manufactured, it's the players. And I mean, I feel like, in a way, I don't want to be a doomsayer. To me, the real threat behind losing physical media is there's going to be no incentive for our analytics-driven big tech world to watch movies that aren't in the top 1,000 or top 2,000 or top 10,000. A lot of the movies that we like, a lot of the genre cinema, and a lot of the really obscure things that get made, disc companies are the only people that are restoring these movies and putting them out on disc. Why? We're already seeing streaming services that have made shows themselves, like Westworld. Yep. HBO has gotten rid of Westworld. They're not showing it because it's too expensive for them. So why would we expect them to keep... I mean, all these movies, maybe they'll be on places like Tubi, and maybe they'll be around the web or whatever, but certainly not in the highest bit rate or the best way to stream possible if you have home theaters. And in 5, 10, 20 years, people aren't going to care. As much as I would like to believe that they are going to care. And, maybe movies will be relegated to some kind of national museum. There's already museums, the Television Museum here in Los Angeles, Radio and Television Museum. They're stocking things. Maybe colleges will stock things. But we are seeing, and again, and I'll even say this, the rise of AI, people are going to make their own movies. You'll be able to punch in, you want to star as Cary Grant? You want to be Cary Grant in Charade? Go ahead. You want to play Rhett Butler in Gone with the Wind? Go ahead. You want to be Luke Skywalker in Star Wars? AI is going to make all that possible. And our entertainment, for better or for worse, is becoming the viewer is becoming the protagonist. It's already happened with video games. We're already seeing it with TikTok videos. People aren't making documentary videos. I mean, some people are about the rest of the world, but they're making videos about themselves. We are now the stars, and movie watching is a passive, activity that you have to be outside yourself. And young people are not growing up, and I'm not saying that young people aren't going to grow up and be fans of cinema, but they're fans of cinema. I always talk about pop culture having a half-life of 20 years. That's going away. All pop culture is different now. And it's interesting, maybe as more young people, you see these reaction channels and you see people go back and, wow, Stevie Nicks is a really good singer. Led Zeppelin's a great band. You watch was it this woman, the Compassionate Voice, or I think it's the Compassionate Voice. I watch this YouTube channel. I love this. She's this beautiful, very nice. I love listening, but I love watching her watch old singers and how she's captivated by them. We'll have a lot of that, so there'll be a lot of looking back into the past. But I mean, you can't. The world's changing.
Like you said on observation itself, passive viewing, with the smartphone in your hand in the theater, passive viewing.
I mean, you know what's really interesting? Even I was listening to I was watching The Fall of the House of Usher on Netflix, their new horror show. I loved
from Mike Flanagan.
You know what?
Great.
I have to say, here's the thing. It's kind of trashy. It's but in the best way. I mean, it's like an R. Well, not that Succession is an R-rated.
Yeah.
It's trashy. It's horrific. It's a really clever way to delve into all of every episode is named after Edgar Allan Poe's famous works, and then overall, if you like Edgar Allan Poe, and I'm trying to get an Edgar Allan Poe movie made, it's really great. But it's also it's trashy fun. I loved it.
Okay.
I mean, I couldn't stop binging it, and
I'm not expecting trashy stuff from Mike.
Dude,
actually.
He clearly went more pulp. He went much more pulp. You're gonna love it. You'll get to the end of episode. You'll get to the end of episode 2. You'll laugh. It'll make you laugh.
Yeah. Is this the last work he did for Netflix? Doesn't he have a new deal with Amazon?
Oh, I can see him doing that, but he's going out with a bang. And it's funny, I've read some people don't. I don't know if they're. I mean, look, Midnight Mass and The Haunting of Hill House were going after different things. This, he's like, we're going to have some trashy, gory, transgressive fun. I mean, it was gleeful. You know what it kind of reminded me of? You know the movie Till Death, when the girl's is it Till Death to his part? She's getting married and she has to meet
Megan Fox?
No. It's what's her face? The blonde woman. Sweeney. Is it Sweeney? Her last name's Sweeney. God, why am I drawing a blank on a lot? But it's she's going to get married. She has to go meet the family, and then it turns out she has to survive. Yeah. Is it Till Death? Yeah,
what was the title of the movie? I know the movie.
Yeah, you know the movie. The tone.
Let me just see in the chat if somebody can help us out there.
Still,
it's Samar weaving.
Samar weaving. Okay, yeah. So it's that movie. It has that tone. House of Usher has that tone.
Nice.
And it sustains it. It's only 8 episodes. And you know what? Gina Carano. Gina Carano. She played Silk
Gina Carano. Yeah, you're right.
No, it's not Gina Carano.
No.
It's Carla Gugino.
Exactly. We're all over the place.
Carla Gugino. How long has she been sexy? 25 years. Carla Gugino. She plays the true femme fatale from the netherworld in this. She's so sexy. She's so good as the villainess. I mean, someone should just give her an award for being Carla Gugino, because she's great, and she's great in this. And I can't recommend it highly enough. It's a lot of fun. Maybe I'll have to go to the Tuna Train to get I'd love to get it on physical media, but I have to say the music choices are fantastic, and the surround mix is very aggressive. So I really enjoyed it. Although once again, there are scenes that they're so. I don't understand what the people that are color timing movies for streaming do. There are scenes in this that are so dark you can barely see them. I don't get it.
Yeah, it unfortunately is an issue.
Yeah, and I don't know if they'll fix it, but anyway.
Yeah. There you go, Rob. Ready or Not was the title, I believe.
Ready or Not, that's it. That's right.
Ready or Not. Thanks, Eucalyptus. You're Ready or Not was the title.
Yeah. Ready or Not.
We're looking for. So, Rob, should we go into the letters? Because we only have 2
right
letters.
Not. Go in. Let's do it. Do it, buddy.
Quick change it up here. And of course, the first one comes from Brian Knight. My reaction to your reaction of Morricone versus Williams. Robert and Ida, I have some bad news in the Morricone versus Williams debate. After watching your reaction to my letter, I did a little research. I used the Danish Symphony Orchestra as a neutral performance of both themes. I searched for the Danish Symphony Orchestra reactions to John Williams' Star Wars versus the Good, the Bad, and the Ugly theme. The number of reactions to John Williams were barely a handful. In fact, the third listed reaction was actually to the Good, the Bad, and the Ugly. After scrolling down, the reactions became Morricone reactions. When searching for the Good, the Bad, and the Ugly, I found over 24 reaction videos. Even searched John Williams' Hollywood Bowl reactions, plenty of videos of performance, but few reactions. Morricone 1, Williams 0. Because he did write a letter last week about the GOAT considering composing scores.
Well, first of all, when it comes to YouTube videos, are they the same video? I would ask which video has been up on YouTube longer. And I would say that the Star Wars theme is so iconic but known for being played by the London Symphony. And I would say the people that are seeking out the ecstasy of gold or the man with a harmonica or something like that, the culty nature of that would probably be more appealing to higher brow music fans, because everyone's heard the Star Wars theme a million ways till Sunday, and I would ask you, how many live videos are there of Ennio Morricone playing that or conducting that, or an orchestra playing his music, compared to how many orchestras are playing John Williams' Star Wars theme? There's probably, I would imagine that, and I'm not trying to prove you wrong, Brian Knight, I'm just saying that statistically speaking, there's probably 100 times more videos of John Williams playing or somebody playing the Star Wars theme live than there are of people playing the Ecstasy of Gold live. You know what I mean? So you have to take into consideration that. Yeah.
I don't know how he did his comparison exactly.
Sure.
So the next one comes from Zachary King. Zachary King writes, "A fun ideas for the show. Gentlemen, I had an idea for the show to make it a little more fun. I think whenever Dieter has
Wait a minute, stop right there. More fun than this?
Yeah.
How could something be more fun than us?"
He says the line has not been crossed yet. All right. Yeah. Gentlemen, I had an idea for the show to make it a little more fun. I think whenever Dieter has a Schnäppchen or a cat in the bag, there should be some sort of graphic that appears on the screen. I'm not sure if it's possible to have those graphics pop up on a live stream, or if they would have to be added later. But hey, just an idea. Keep up the fine work, lads. Here is actually the problem, Zachary King. Even if Rob tells everybody I'm a Schnäppchen hunter, I'm actually not really, because most stuff I buy at release date. So it's not really a Schnäppchen to buy stuff at the release date.
But that's why it'd be rare to see. So, by the way, I just want to point out that Irene Jobson in the chat, and I can't let this get away. She says that when she played the trombone, a Little Mermaid graphic appears. Irene, my kind of girl, playing the trombone. Well done, well done. Where does that Little Mermaid, is that projected on your wall? How does that work?
Tell us about it.
Not on this show, she can't.
The only thing perhaps could be the cat in the bag stuff. Schnäppchen, not necessarily. I don't know if you can do something like that with a graphic. I have to ask Rob if that is possible to.
Oh no! I mean, no. If we had, we could have a graphic with like, we could have put a sound effect there. I mean, and because, like you said, there isn't, you don't have that many Schnäppchens. When you do have a Schnäppchen,
but cat in the bags
and a cat in the bag. I mean, here's the thing. There is, as a matter of fact, I know you don't like this movie very much, but I made a movie.
Yeah.
Called Free Enterprise, and there's a clip. There's a clip in that movie, where Tony Curtis is talking to Burt Lancaster, and Tony Curtis says, "The cat's in the bag, and the bag is in the river." And then Burt Lancaster says, "Don't be a two-time loser, Sidney." And we could take that clip, "Cat's in the bag and the bags," because they threw the cat in the bag in the river. Don't be a two-time loser, Sydney. We could actually have that, and we could say, don't be a two-time loser, Dieter. So we could do that. Or we can have a viewer art contest. Somebody, what does it look like when
just
Dieter's
draw a back with a cat coming out of it?
Yeah, if somebody wants to make us some fan art, you can send it to us right down there below. Postgeeksingularity.com. Go to the page. Send us a letter. I think that's a great idea. We'll find a sound effect.
Yeah.
We'll find a good cat screeching. Something like that, and then we'll
and see if we can incorporate it.
Yeah.
Into
easy to do. We just
show.
Need the art. I think it's a fine idea, but that doesn't mean it's going to make this show more fun.
We'll see. We'll see about it. And the last one, again from Brian Knight. Suggestions for Dieter new DVD library. Actually, it's just Blu-ray at the moment. Dieter, a simple suggestion to find DVDs and CDs in your new slipcover library. Buy some heavy poster boards and cut dividers which stick out 1 or 2 inches beyond the width of the slipcovers. Label the dividers in alphabetical order and then add subdividers for letters with 50 or more DVDs. Example, the letter A, maybe a divider at A, F, AM, and AT. Hope this helps. Brian, at the moment, I'm just Blu-ray switching. No DVD switching or CD switching. And at the moment, it's just normal, regularly alphabetized without any specific doing anything labeling. And Rob, since I'm going through my collections, I thought it would be perhaps nice to see what cat in the bags, new cat in the bags, or old cat in the bags I did find. Speaking of George Hartnett, who did show up, it was nice to see him in Oppenheimer again. I totally forgot he did a movie called I Come with the Rain, but I have no remembrance of that movie. George Hartnett.
I don't either.
With the Rain. And there was a live chat, not last week, 2 weeks ago, where somebody was a little bit not happy that we don't show any Wesley Snipes movie. And Rob, I stumbled across this one. Wesley Snipes in Yellow Walkers. So, once again, this is an old cat in the bag becoming a new cat in the bag.
But you don't even remember if they're good or not. Did you even watch those? You didn't.
Yeah, but this is from when did this movie came out? 2013, Rob. So it's 10 years ago when this Blu-ray came out. So there's some years to it. So Rob, should we show some physical media or do we go to the super chats?
No, I think we should show some physical media and then go to super chats so people can
comment.
Why don't you start, buddy?
Okay, since the first one. Consider, speaking of the Halloween franchise, there are different timelines you can go. You can watch 1 and 2, ended there. You can watch 1 and then the new trilogy. Or you can go 1, 2, and Age 20, which came out as a 4K steelbook with a nice slipcase around it. So really nice steelbook. And I remember that I was even in the theater going to watch Age 20, which for me is pretty decent. So really nice steelbook for Age 20. So I go 1, 2, and Age 20, and then my trilogy, considering the Halloween franchise, is finished. The next one, haven't seen it. It came in on Friday, I believe, and it's out in the States from Criterion, but this is the Studio Canal version, which should be identical. The Nicole Kidman movies, the others, in 4K now. And it comes with a new documentary, I believe, about the movie. So I would hope the transfer is the same as the Criterion. The next one, unfortunately, Rob, double dipping. We hate it sometimes. We can't help ourselves. Megan finally came out in 4K.
That's a cool cover. It's so elegant.
As a steelbook. It's nicely printed here. So you got a Blu-ray and the 4K. So Megan as a steelbook. Why not immediately, Universal? Why do we have to wait until you give us this one immediately? The next one Rob showed, I think, was last week or 2 weeks ago. I finally got mine too. The Mist.
Oh, did you watch it?
Didn't get around to it.
I watched it. It looks incredible.
Nice to know.
But I only watched the color version.
This is a really great package. I think 4 discs for I think it was a relatively fair price that Lionsgate.
Oh, really fair price. Really, it's 4 discs. Can I just comment on that? Now, I'm a huge Frank Darabont fan. Like, obviously the Shawshank Redemption is one of the great movies. I love The Green Mile. And was it The Majestic, the movie he made about the movie theater and stuff?
Okay.
I don't like this movie.
Yeah, you told us. You told us. And mean-spirited.
No, it's beautifully made and everything. I just don't. I think the end is really incongruous. I know I said this last week, but I'm going to say it again because I haven't stopped. Maybe it is. Maybe I haven't stopped thinking about it because it's using Dead Can Dance at the end. It just seems like this movie when they're fighting for their lives, and then they kind of just give up, and then everybody gets shot in the head. They kill themselves, and then literally Thomas Jane is standing there, and then the army rescues him 5 minutes later. Like, they couldn't have waited 5 minutes. I mean, I understand, but the ending really bothers me, and it's what bothers me the most about it. So the first time I read The Mist, it was in a book called Dark Forces, and I want to say, was it Kirby McCauley that edited? He was like an agent for these authors, and Dark Forces was an anthology, and The Mist anchored the anthology. And the original story ends with the giant behemoth just walking across the land, and they show that in the film, but that's obviously not a very satisfying ending. So Frank Darabont turned and gave it this really, really dark ending. And I'm like, even though that is a very like Lovecraftian Cthulhu ending in the story, I really feel, which could have been like where are we going to go? Like, where is this new world going to take us? Are we just going to get slaughtered, or is there at least there was some modicum? Anyway, I'm belaboring the point, but I hate the end. I hate the ending of The Mist. Hate it. Anyway, back to you.
It shows how important the ending is to every
But it's
movie.
a great disc package, and everybody should buy it.
Yeah, exactly. This one was one of my favorite movies of the year, not only in the horror section, just in general. I got the Amazon exclusive for Talk to Me, which comes with a nice lenticular cover, and it comes with 3 discs, so there is a disc more in it with a bonus feature. So this for my first haul, Rob. Talk to me.
I'll talk to you, baby. I'll talk to you. Well, my first haul comes from one of the unofficial sponsors of this channel, and it comes from Warner Archive. And a lot of people have been bitching about Warner Archive, like only putting out these classic films that nobody knows. But I'm like, you mean our rich cinematic history that you need to have, and they do such a great job? Well, Warner Archive is starting to put out modern stuff, and they put out what I think is a banger. Before Night Falls, with Javier Bardem playing a Cuban poet. It's all about this Cuban poet who was persecuted. This is directed by Julian Schnabel, the artist who also made the movie Basquiat that starred Jeffrey Wright. And this is a terrific, terrific film. One of the best films of the year, I think, when it came out. And this comes out from Warner Archive. Now, again, how many people are going to buy Before Night Falls? I don't know, but it's a terrific film. And now, I had not owned this before. I don't know what the history of this is.
Well, was it even out before? this version.
It might have been
I don't
out
think
on
Yeah.
but this is a really cool movie to have, and it's because it's a great movie, and it belongs, I think, in people's collections. Also, again, not that classics were let go, but Christopher Strong starring Katharine Hepburn, and I got to tell you, as much as I sing the praises of George Felsenstein, it cannot be stressed enough. His choice of these classic titles, the covers, I mean, this classic painted artwork, it doesn't get, can you imagine if this was like some photoshopped picture? I mean, this is the kind of artwork you want on discs. And this is something that, again, I don't think George Felsenstein gets enough credit for. I'm sure the people at Warner Brothers go, well, this looks so dated. No, give me a break. This is Warner Archive. This is at its finest. This is a beautiful image, great looking cover, beautifully designed. You go, Warner Archive, and you go, George Felsenstein. And here's another cool movie that I remember seeing this along when it came out, and this was directed by a German, Volker Schlondorf. Volker Schlondorf. Didn't Volker Schlondorf direct the Tin Drum? I think he might.
Yeah, exactly.
He did. He directed the Tin Drum. Well, Volker Schlondorf made a film noir, Palmetto.
Okay.
Starring Gina Gershon, Elizabeth Shue, and Woody Harrelson. And I remember, I've only seen this movie once. I saw this movie in the theater. I remember nothing about it, but they did put it out. And again, this is something from the Warner catalog. I would love to see them put out James Foley's Reckless with Aidan Quinn and Daryl Hannah on Blu-ray. They put it out on DVD, but that's another Warner Archive title I'd love to see come back on Blu-ray because I love that movie. So here's a more modern film from a world-class filmmaker that made the Tin Drum, Volker Schlondorf. Let's hear it for Warner Archive. So that is a box that I got from them this week. A movie that I bought, my newfound love for Radiance. Now, I have not. I just got this. This movie called The Dead Mother. If somebody wants to make some Oedipal comment about that, I'm sure you're welcome to do so. Again, I know nothing about this movie. It is a 1993 Spanish movie.
Cat in the bag, Rob.
It's a cat. This is a cat in the bag. A cat in the bag. Whatever it is. I mean, this is a cat in the bag with the nice obi, and I love the clear box. Criterion does that. Don't know anything about this. Total cat in the bag, but it's. I'm just going to buy whatever Radiance puts out if I can afford it, because why not?
The obi is the only thing that makes it tough to decide if you will switch the cover or not.
I know, but
if they have a reversible cover artwork, because the Hotspot had that reversible cover artwork, but it didn't fit with the obi.
By the way, this is a world Blu-ray premiere.
Ooh, nice.
It says right on the obi. And by the way, it's 18.
18, yeah.
And it says it's 18, contains strong bloody violence, bloody images, and infrequent nudity. Why is the nudity infrequent? I want to point out that this is
3+3.
This is region free. It's region A, B, and C. I mean, it's not region free. It's region A, B, and C. But you can all play them. And this was directed by a woman that I don't know who she is. But and it's 235. So there you go. The Dead Mother. Radiance put it out. Radiance, you haven't let me down yet. So good for me. By the way, I showed Elizabeth Past Lives this week. What a great movie.
Yeah.
We should talk about it for Let's Get Physical Media. I mean, when we talk about what's it called? What's our show? Lizaviews. That's right.
Lizaviews. Yeah.
one day, Lizaviews will come back and we'll be using these microphones. Thank you very much. These expensive microphones. I can't. I mean, I've been using this microphone for 5 years. I can't. It's gonna be tough. So.
Still sounds great.
So that's the first of my haul.
Right.
So now let's dip in and see if anyone has anything to say. Stubble McShave says, is the 47% DVD slice based on discs sold or dollars spent? I would say dollars spent probably, but no. You know what? It's a percentage, so it's got to be discs sold.
Yeah.
I would say it's discs sold, not dollars spent, because like Walmart, they have specials and things like that. So this is October 7th, 47.4%. So there you go. So I think it's probably, it would be the number of discs actually sold. I mean, that's what I would That's what I would imagine it is. You know what I mean? That's what I would think.
Yeah.
So, so there you go, Stubble. But you know what? What if I'm wrong? I could be wrong. Who knows? Irene Jobson says, I think it was Crank. I don't know what that means, Irene Jobson. You think it was Crank?
The Jason Statham movie? Crank?
I don't know. Are you talking about trombones again?
Missing the context here.
I don't know. I must have missed that. Irene Jobson says that my son loves Alien and Guardians of the Galaxy. First of all, how old's your son? And kudos to you for showing him Guardians of the Galaxy and Alien. And which version of Alien? The director's cut? Did you watch that? Come on, I know now I'm asking you too many questions. But there you go. Thomas Logan says, I'm stoked for Dieter Bastian's new weekly show. I collect physical media, where he takes a dozen new 4K releases, sets them on fire, and carefully saves the toxic ashes in a tiny space-saving Ziploc bag.
Yeah. And then sprinkle it on your pizzas, Thomas.
Oh, boy. Thornhill. That's a nice reference, by the way. It becomes although it's Jay Thornhill. But Thornhill, good reference. Maybe that's just your real last name, but hey, that's a Hitchcock reference. So Thomas Logan, that's a funny thing to say. A World in Pajamas. Tracy, our science latest, says, I just had a date at the cinema. Watched the new Exorcist movie. It was awful. Never get those hours back. So was my date. Wait a minute. You had a date and they took you to see The Exorcist instead of the creator? Shouldn't you define if it's a date? Shouldn't you define what movie you see? No wonder your date was terrible. You should tell us your date's number. I don't want to assume what kind of a date it was, but we should call them up right now and live on the show and go, why did you take World in Pajamas? Why did you take Tracy to see Exorcist? It's god-awful. But you know what? The Brits give things more chances than Americans do. Something that's really terrible in the United States or that we hate, it might get liked in Britain. You never know.
Could be.
Vegas RoboCop.
Yeah.
What do you think Vegas RoboCop would be like? Like, do you think he polices like prostitution on the streets? Like, what would Vegas RoboCop do?
If he's in his costume every day, probably yes.
Well, he'd have to be. Vegas RoboCop has been a member of the channel for 30 months, but then Vegas RoboCop, congratulations, Vegas RoboCop. Thank you for supporting the channel. But then Vegas RoboCop brings us the dark news. My local Best Buy has already begun the purge. That's terrible, Vegas RoboCop.
Great voice, Rob.
Dead or alive, these discs are not coming with me anymore. It's too bad. Adventure Square in the chat says Vegas RoboCop would have a slot machine add-on. That would make sense. To defray the cost of RoboCop, you could place slots in his back or something. Or even on his chest. He has a great chest for having... It would be digital, so it wouldn't be an actual mechanism. So there we are. We are caught up with Super Chats and tips. So there you are.
Where do we go?
Where do we go from here? The battle's done and we kind of won. We'll shed our victory tear. I don't know. Where do you want to go?
News or live chat?
We could, not the live chat yet. What are you trying to get out of here? Because you don't want to stay up late?
No, it's not really that long.
Oh, okay. Well, here, let's go. Let's go to news. I'll go to news.
Okay.
Look what's coming out. Dun 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 dun. I know. Hey man, this movie's better than Crystal Skull. You know what though? Like the same way.
Different things, Rob.
To reconsider. The dogs are barking outside. To reconsider this movie. Do you know what I think this movie's biggest fault is? I mean, it's competently made and all that. I just... Indiana Jones himself is a bummer in this movie. He's unhappy.
He's like 007, he has no fun.
Yeah, I mean, they have made... There's this trope where we're going to deconstruct our heroes in their old age, whether it's Picard, whether it's James Bond, whether it's Indiana Jones. And you know what I think it is? I think, what I would like to have seen, what I think this movie's biggest fault is why would a character like Indiana Jones, I mean, okay, his son dies in Vietnam. I get it. You're going to give him all these tropes but you're going to deconstruct him. This to me is bad writing, and it's bad writing because it's easy writing. It would have been far like the whole thing about like Indiana Jones at one point in this movie is commenting on the astronauts. You know, this takes place, they're celebrating ticker tape parade for the astronauts coming back from landing on the moon. Indiana Jones should have been the first person to be like, I wonder what you guys are going to find up there, because I can tell you. I mean, he saw aliens in the last movie. You know, evidence of, or pardon me, interdimensional beings, whatever the fuck he saw. Indiana Jones, in his old age, should, if nothing else, have received faith, because he's seen so much craziness, even in the movies that we've seen. He had to, like, in a way, I would have thought that he would have embraced, he would have been like the Zen master. And like, even his students aren't listening to him anymore. This is too easy. It's too easy to take a character, and it's like a dumb shortcut trope of the era that began. I mean, we saw it with Bond, we saw it with Picard. These characters, and what's wrong with, if I may, what's wrong with that is that fundamentally goes against who these characters are. And I understand with Professor X, it worked in Logan, because mutants were always an oppressed. The mutants are always depressing anyway. But when you take Picard, when you take James Bond, and when you take Indiana Jones, for audiences, these are characters that inherently bring us joy. They're characters that we love and admire. And to take those characters and put them in a situation, I mean, with Logan, it was kind of apocalyptic in a way, because the fight between oppression, the Homo sapiens and Homo superior, is an ongoing battle. But this movie, it was a wrong choice to make Indiana Jones this way. Because the funny thing about Indiana Jones is, if I had made this movie, I would have flipped it and said, he's got this joie de vivre, he's still got it. But because he's 80, no one will let him do it. You know, they won't let him, and he just had to go and he's like, I'm going to go get the Dial of Destiny, and blah, blah. It should have been. So immediately, Indiana Jones is in a position where, for the audience, it's not fun. We don't like to see, like, you know, it's like in Skyfall, James Bond. There's no. When Ray Fiennes is like, it doesn't matter if you've missed a step. There's no, like, James Bond doesn't miss a step. The only, you know what? They did the James Bond getting old in 1983 in Never Say Never Again, where he literally has to go to a health farm and all that, and they make these jokes about Bond getting old, and he still gets the ladies, you know, or could have if he wanted to, like Fatima Blush. Therein lies this is why this movie I don't think works, and this is why this movie failed at the box office, because this movie was not fun. Indiana Jones should be fun, and they missed that. They don't understand that. You know why? Because writers do not know their jobs as well as they used to. Therein lies my rant. But it's coming, and I'll buy it.
It's coming, yeah.
You know what else is coming? One of my favorite releases was Severin's Gothic. They put out that box set, the Dance Macabre box set. Well, they're putting out Dance Macabre Volume 2, the Italian Gothic collection. Oh, yes. Bring it on. Can't wait to get this. And it's got a 4K in it. 1 4K, 6 Blu-rays, and a soundtrack CD. 3 classic films. 1 landmark miniseries, rediscovered, restored, reclaimed. Severin does the Lord's work. Now, as much as we might love Vinegar Syndrome, I was talking to my friend Clark Von Trotha yesterday, and Clark Von Trotha is like, you know, we love Vinegar Syndrome. I mean, and he even said, I know you love Body Melt, and they put out Liquid Sky, and of course they gave us The Great Showgirls, and their box set at Roadhouse is amazing. But when they put out stuff like Body Melt, and they do put out box sets of like great 70s bush porn, like the Taboo series, which I love, which moved into the 80s, I know. But then, you know, Mother's Day, as much as I will buy Mark of the Devil, I don't think I'm going to buy Blood-Sucking Freaks in Mother's Day, even though they're in 4K. So Vinegar Syndrome does a great job packaging. They give the love. But I do think that Severin has a little bit more higher brow taste, and maybe that's the best thing. I mean, I do like Vinegar Syndrome's. They have a dedication to sleaze, but they also have a dedication to putting out bad movies I don't want to watch. But I still love them. I still love Vinegar Syndrome. But Severin is quietly giving us these bangers, And this first Italian Dance Macabre box set was really good. I thought it was really good. Really interesting films, a lot of fun to watch, atmospheric. So you go, Severin. This will even be bigger than before, and their artwork is great. Look at this. Come on, who doesn't love this art? Beautiful.
So there are 4 movies, but 6 Blu-rays. So
well, I think one of them is a remastered one that's in 4K.
Oh, okay.
So
right.
so you get the 4K version.
One Blu-ray extra.
Yeah, right, and a soundtrack album.
Yeah.
That's right. And Dieter, this might be the news of the week. The news of the week, the biggest release. The entire series is coming out on Blu-ray, and I know that you probably have been waiting for this your whole life. That's right. Leave It to Beaver. Leave It to Beaver, the complete series, coming out on disc. You know you want it. Look at that. Look at young Jerry Mathers as the Beaver. This isn't even like high school the Beaver. This is first season the Beaver. It's coming out. The whole thing coming out. Woohoo! Leave It to Beaver.
Looks almost like a Criterion collection.
I know, right? It looks so. Just
from the cover artwork, how it's
I don't know if this is the cover artwork. Maybe it is. I mean, I can understand. I kind of like this minimalist thing, but come on, how do you not put Eddie Haskell on the box? I don't know. Maybe this is not the final packaging. I would assume it's not. But Leave It to Beaver, Dieter. Were you like Beaver, or were you more like Eddie? I think you were probably more like Eddie Haskell when you were a kid. You pretended you were every parent's dream kid, but you really weren't. You were getting every other kid in trouble. Were you a bad kid, or were you like a good kid?
I hope I was a good kid, but I'm not that familiar with that series.
Of course you're not. It's okay. You're German. What would you know? Leave It to Beaver is a very wholesome show that was made in the 50s.
Perhaps, Rob, the German title was very different.
Yeah, I'm sure it was. It was like...
So perhaps I have seen it, but it was on the another
Wholesome
name.
American Kid Grows Up. That would be the German title.
Yeah.
That's probably what it was.
What it's about, Rob.
Wholesome American Kid Grows Up. Look at this, dude.
Ooh.
Neon's putting out 4K restoration of Old Boy. Look at this box. This looks like a Korean box. I mean, this is like some you buy in Korea. Look at this. I mean, that is some serious... That's a beautiful box. I love this movie. I think it's great.
Masterpiece.
Let's hear it for... And speaking of those Koreans who keep putting out bangers, speaking of Koreans, like I told you, I watched Past Lives. By the way, Past Lives was actually shot on film. That movie, I really want to find out more about the cinematographer of Past Lives, because that film, that entire film looks like a watercolor. The disc is absolutely beautiful. Pretty good making of. There's some deleted scenes on it. Audio commentary. It's a nice package. If you like Past Lives, highly recommend it. Really good disc. But speaking of more Korean bangers, The Wailing, coming out in 4K. This is a great movie. I think Well Go is putting this out.
I would think so. Because they did put out Train to Busan also.
Yeah, but it's taken a while to get this out on 4K. I'm happy to get it on 4K. Really like this movie a lot. It's a great horror film. Again, K-horror instead of J-horror. K-horror is where it's at. Really looking forward to it. And let's jump to another part of the world, India. Let's go to our Bollywood brethren, our Bollywood brothers and sisters. This is coming from Mondo. Bollywood horror movies. Now, I know nothing about Bollywood horror, but here's 6 films. I don't know what Varana means. I don't know what any of these names mean. These Indian names. Tenkana, I don't know. Have no idea. But you know what? I will buy this because this looks like a good Bollywood horror primer. It's coming out from Mondo, so it's not like we're going to be getting some A-list movies from them. I don't know the difference, but count me in. I'll buy this because I know nothing about Bollywood horror cinema. And as our Vegas RoboCop, actually it's not, that's Starship Troopers. Would you like to know more? Yes, I would. It's still Paul Verhoeven. So I'm going to buy this.
Looks like some Demons collection from the movie.
Yeah,
Demons.
dude, check out this box, though. I mean, this is like Bollywood horror. I mean, bring this on. Ramsey Internationals, maybe that's a company, but Mondo's putting this out.
Yeah.
And Mondo, what did I buy? Mondo, Silip, the Daughters of Eve or something. Mikey Sutton told me to buy it before he passed away, so I bought it. And that was also from Mondo. Mondo's put out some good stuff. And they usually deliver the... I mean, I don't know, like in the Indian film industry, do they have? I mean, do they have extreme cinema, blood and nudity? I mean, I would
No
think
idea.
the Hindi and the Muslim population over there. I mean, don't get me wrong, Indian women are hot, hot, hot. And I'd love to see naked, bloody Indian women. I just don't know how much of that we're going to get in this.
Are there dance numbers in those movies?
Don't know. And again, that's one of the things I would really like to know. And if there are dance numbers, so much the better. Bring me hot Indian women that die horribly but dance first. You know what I mean? I mean, I think that
probably 150 minutes long each.
as long as there's sex and blood and dance numbers. I mean, I think that I think that's what we all want, Dieter. And if you're going to buy Indian horror, again, couldn't tell you much about it, but it's got a great box. It'll have shelf presence. I'm going to buy it. I'm excited. So there you go. Kino Lorber with coming out with this Clive Barker adaptation from the 80s. George Pavlou. You know, this has Steven Berkoff. Steven Berkoff from like Octopussy. We have 24 armored tank divisions in Czechoslovakia.
Yeah.
The West
Number
is
2.
decadent and divided. I love Steven Berkoff. Miranda Richardson, Ingrid Pitt from Hammer Films. I've never seen this movie. I've always wanted to see this movie. I know it exists. Don't know much about it, but it is a Clive Barker adaptation, and Kino Lorber is putting it out. I forgot the Kino Lorber song. I can always go back and get the Kino Lorber song and sing it for you if you'd like. Because, you know, we love Kino Lorber. And I could sing the Kino Lorber song, but maybe once was enough, honestly. Varsity Blues is coming out. The James Van Der Beek, John Voight movie coming out. What's not to love about Varsity Blues? I don't know. But it's coming out. So there you go. I mean, there's other movies coming out, and there's probably some cult label that I'm leaving off. But, you know, that's what we've got. That's what I picked for this week. And then let's check out our disc sales. The overall disc sales, top 20 best-selling Blu-ray discs. Actually, you know what? Let's start with this is the overall sales.
Yeah.
Which, by the way, because it's too far away from my screen, and I can't even. This is how old I'm getting. Let me just get in here so I can zoom it in for me so I can see it.
Yeah.
Number 1 is Prey. Overall, Prey. Number 2, Talk to Me. 3, Elemental. Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse. The Little Mermaid. The Mist. Insidious at number 7. Then Red Door. Scream 3 at number 8. John Wick Chapter 4 at number 9. And bringing up the rear at number 10, Fast X. So there you go. And now here we go. Top-selling Blu-ray and 4K discs for the week. These are the top-selling Blu-ray discs. Prey, Talk to Me, The Mist, Scream 3, Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse, Elemental, Loki, the complete first season, John Wick Chapter 4, The Little Mermaid, and Insidious, The Red Door. And, of course, bringing up the rear, the 4K disc, what we're really interested in. Prey, The Mist, Scream 3, Talk to Me, Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse, Loki, the complete first season, The Lost Boys, which is weird. It Came from Outer Space, which I showed last week, John Wick Chapter 4, and Evil Dead Rise. So that's just the news I wanted to fixate on this week.
Rob,
so there you go.
A nice segue you brought up as the last title, Evil Dead Rise, and I had to double dip, Rob. Once again, I bought a steelbook which finally came out here with bonus material. You know, the audio commentary and probably a little featurette.
Wow,
so,
man.
Evil Dead Rise finally with some bonus features, because the first one that I bought, the US one,
it has nothing on
it. Had unfortunately no bonus features. Only the UK one, which came, I think, from Studio Canal, had the audio commentary from the director to it. The next one, Rob, an HBO movie I've seen back in the day on VHS. I think this is the first time it's out on Blu-ray, but you don't have to expect much from the picture quality. About the movie Fatherland.
Is that the TV show? That was a cable movie that was
TV movie
based on the is it I want to
Robert
say
Harris
Robert Harris book. I read the book.
Yeah, exactly. Fatherland came out here and had a reversible cover
Nice.
artwork. So HBO movie. So quality was okay, but not. I would think there's some more stuff you could pull out of the. If you would do a great remaster of
Well,
it.
they might
But
have.
it comes
They
just
might
in
have.
the TV aspect ratio one.
They might have only.
33.
They might have made it off of a tape as opposed to going back to the original negative.
Could be.
That's kind of disappointing.
Another steelbook, because I quite enjoyed the sequel. Most people, unfortunately, not. But I had a good time with
Oh, there you go.
Kick-Ass 2. Really nice steelbook for it. And isn't there some sort of not remake or restart of the franchise?
Well,
in the
yeah.
works
Matthew
or in
Vaughn
talks?
recently said that he wants to.
Yeah.
He wants to reboot it.
Exactly. There was something. I remember. The next one, Cat in the Bag from 88 Films, Rob. It comes under the tagline Hardboiled 2, but I don't know. The movie, it's called The Last Blood, but it says Hardboiled 2.
Yeah, if John Woo didn't direct it, no.
No. So probably just a cash in, under the name. But you get, of course, versatile cover for the movie and the poster with the new artwork. It's the two artworks to it. So, Hardboiled 2, The Last Blood, Cat in the Bag. We need that graphic, Rob. Cat in the Bag. The next one. Really nice to get this one. Unfortunately, the MPAA probably made the movie a little bit underwhelming and fortunately a little bit mediocre. But I was waiting. For that one scene. I was waiting for just at the end, so I could do the Leonardo DiCaprio meme. Oh, yeah, there you go. Do you know which movie I'm talking about, Rob?
I have no idea.
It was in the credits, Rob. I go, oh! The Saw is family.
The Saw is yes.
Leatherface Part 3, because our own Viceroy of Verisimilitude had a little hand in that movie.
It's true, and so I do want to give a shout out this week, Jeff Burr, who directed
exactly when the movie came out.
Yeah, he directed Leatherface. That was the first movie. He was the first director. He wasn't the first director I ever met because I interviewed Martin Brest when I was in high school, who directed Beverly Hills Cop, and I went to Stanley Kramer's class at the Bellevue Community College. But Jeff Burr was the first director I ever worked with, and he was incredibly nice to me, and he really set a tone. I was a couple weeks out of film school, out of college, and the first job I had right out of film school was working as the art department production assistant on Leatherface, Texas Chainsaw Massacre 3, and I wrote this on my Facebook page, but the first day that I went to work, I got to work at like 7 a.m. to the production office up in Valencia, and he was the first person I met, and I didn't know who he was. I'd never, I'm all like nervous, 22 years old, and I walked in, and he shook my hand vigorously, and he was like, "Oh yeah, great," and he goes, "Oh, you want to be back in the art? Here, let me take you back to the art department." And Mick Strawn, the production designer who I was working for, it was his department. Mick Strawn's like, "Oh, great, here comes the new kid," and he has the director bring him back to the art department. I looked at Jeff and goes, "Oh yeah, man, I'm the director. I'm Jeff Burr." And and he always talked to me. He gave me the time of day, always. I had the summer of 1989 when I worked on that movie was, even though I was working 6 days a week, like 20-hour days, it was one of the hardest jobs I ever had in terms of physical exhaustion. It was one of the best times I've ever had in my life. And part of it was because Jeff Burr made me a part of it. He went out of his way to make me a part. And interestingly enough, in 1998, 9 years later, when I was directing Free Enterprise, we were shooting a scene on Hollywood Boulevard outside the Galaxy cinema, and it was a scene with Eric McCormack when they get kicked out of Star Trek II: The Wrath of Khan, and we're on the we're in the courtyard right off of Hollywood Boulevard, and just randomly, Jeff Burr just walks up to the set. He was just walking by and saw us shooting. He walked up and then he saw me and he came over and he's like, "Oh my God, Rob, you're directing a movie." And I'm like, "Yeah." He goes, "That's amazing." And he gave me a big hug and we stayed in touch because there's a funny thing about anybody that like this weekend Monsterpalooza is happening, which is there's actually Son of Monsterpalooza is happening. And Monsterpalooza is a big horror convention, and there's 2 of them. They have them twice a year. And the LA horror filmmaking community is everybody knows each other. If you've made a horror movie and you live in Los Angeles, you know most of the people in the horror crowd. And there's 2 different horror crowds. There's the Valley horror crowd, and then if you have real big success like James Wan or something, you make the Saw franchise, then you get to move to the other side of the hill, where you can live in Beverly Hills or Santa Monica or whatever. So the Hollywood Hills is the demarcation point. Most people in the Hollywood horror community live in the Valley. Or if you're like Dave Scow, who wrote Leatherface, he had some good success. He bought a beautiful house up in the hills with a view of the Hollywood sign. But then he moved away. He moved to Palm Springs. So, because, you get old and you want to leave. Not that Dave's old, but you get to a point where you just want to leave, Hollywood. But the Hollywood horror community, and I have to say, for the most part, I mean, sure, people talk about that. It can be backbiting, but the Hollywood horror community is usually a pretty great place to be. Now, for me, I entered into it when I worked on Leatherface. I met a lot of people like R.A. Mihailoff, who played Leatherface, and a lot of the people that were in the movie. Ken Foray, who starred My Beloved Dawn of the Dead, I got to meet him. And once you sort of get introduced into that fraternity, there's all these parties you get invited to. There's all these events. You go to screenings. You know a whole group of people peripherally, and it's a good bunch. I wish I could just keep making horror movies and just hang out with the people in the Hollywood horror community, people like Mike Mendez, who recently did Satanic Hispanics, who's a great guy, and he keeps working. He made like Big Ass Spider and Grave Dancers, and he's done a lot of stuff. So it's great. Anyway, so shout out to Jeff Burr, director of Leatherface, and that media book. I got to get one of those, buddy. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah, and it comes, especially for Europe, with a completely dubbed version of the unrated version. So, as you would like to watch it in German, you can do that.
Yeah. And then I have my first screen credit on that movie. Yeah. My name.
That's where when I go, like Leonardo DiCaprio, when the credits roll, I never kept my eyes so much on the credits. Where does he appear? So Leatherface. One question, Rob. I could be wrong about this. The driving scene at the beginning of the 2, was this done with rear projection?
I don't think so.
Okay.
I think the whole thing was shot because we were shooting out in a place called Palmdale. So I think that I don't think they would have done it with rear projection because that would have been more money. They would have had to have gone onto a sound stage. Or they might have done poor man's process where it's not rear projection, they're actually outside and they're using lights and stuff to go back. I don't remember, to be honest.
Okay, because just for me it looked a little bit like this. So if they didn't shoot it real, I told you I love the movie Totally Killer on Amazon Prime.
Oh yeah.
But there was a driving scene in it that was horrendous to look at. And this one, if it wasn't for real, it looked way better with old techniques.
Yeah, I mean, so when I say poor man's process, if you want to do a driving shot at night, and you want to do it cheap, you can do it multiple ways. Like in Hills Run Red, we had a lot of driving stuff, and I'll tell you a funny story about. Okay, here's a movie production story for all of you people. So when we were shooting Hills Run Red in Bulgaria, it was very hard to find a car that looked like it was American, because you're in a former Soviet satellite and Eastern Bloc country. Nothing, and wherever you went, there's no English. It was all in Bulgarian. It's all Cyrillic, the alphabet. Like if you go to the gas station and you look at the gas pumps, it's in Cyrillic. So we had to Greek everything. Everything had to be changed. So we finally found this car. I think it was a Toyota. We found a car that the characters drive to this location in. Well, what we didn't realize was we rent the car from private individuals. And so what you do is you put camera mounts up on either side of the car and in the front of the car to shoot through the windows. And when you're shooting on the side, you roll the windows all the way down so you can the lens will get inside the cab for you. And when you drive, you have these mounts on the car. What we did not realize is that this edition of a European version of an American car, you could not roll the windows down all the way on the driver's side or the passenger side, because they were safety windows, so they didn't come down all the way. So we were fucked. So we had to make a decision. You could either break the windows, but we didn't own the car. It wasn't a picture car. The production didn't own it, so we couldn't break the windows, because who knows if we could get the glass back. So what we had to do was take the doors off the car, open up the doors, take the glass out, put the doors back together, and then put the camera mounts on. And we lost a half day of production the second day of shooting. Now, because it's driving scenes, you can always pick them up later. But after that, the studio, we felt the first day, Dave Parker does a great job directing. We finished early. It was awesome. Great first day. The second day, nope, it wasn't Dave's fault. Nobody anticipated. I certainly didn't know. The production didn't know. We wouldn't have known. No one thought about the windows rolling down. And this is what happens in production, even the best laid plans of mice and men. So we send the production reports, and we were a half day behind the second day of shooting. This is bad. And suddenly the studio, Warner Brothers, is calling for Dave to be fired. And I went into a meeting with our line producers, who would love nothing more than to get rid of Dave and I. Because they're like, nobody cares about this movie. It's a direct-to-video movie. They could direct it themselves if they wanted to. And I go into this, and I'm like, you're not firing our director because you guys didn't anticipate a window not being able to come down. Give me a fucking break. We've worked on this movie for years to get here. And when people want to know what a producer does, so I went in and was like, there's no fucking way. And I'm like, I'll call the studio myself. We'll make it up on the back end. We'll shoot the driving scenes at the end of the schedule. And that's exactly what we did. But when you're making movies, when you're driving, it's a pain in the ass. That's why if you roll up a car on a studio that has now a volume, they'll do it on a volume or whatever. Yeah. It goes a lot faster, but as you see, it can look like shit.
Yeah,
so
totally killer. I still love the movie, but that scene looked horrendous.
But what I was going to say, too, about poor man's process, you can actually put a car in a stationary position, and you can use things like you can just have people going by with branches and lights coming down. That's called poor man's process, where you're doing it at the most basic level. But you can do it that way, too.
Yeah.
Sorry for that aside. Where are we? What's the show about?
Leatherface. The movie you are involved in, Rob. It deserves a little bit longer spot, definitely. Well,
there you go.
So I have one left to go, but I would save it for as the last.
Okay, well, I've got. Let's go to our other. Let's go to our. Speaking of.
Second sponsor.
Kino Lorber. Got some interesting stuff in from Kino Lorber. First of all, here's, again, the great mystery of life is how does Kino Lorber get all this incredible stuff that they release? I have no clue. So the first thing that they've sent me is a movie called Neither Confirm Nor Deny, one of the most audacious intelligence operations in history. I've never even heard of this movie. Neither confirm nor deny. It's got a cool cover. During the Cold War, the CIA secretly raised a sunken Soviet nuclear submarine from the depths of the Pacific Ocean. The 6-year operation included an intricate cover story by Howard Hughes. I'm like, is this true? I don't know if it's true. but neither confirm nor deny. Nobody can confirm or deny whether
Cool
it's true or not.
cover.
So cool cover. They sent me this. Now this is just a DVD. They also sent me Agatha Christie's Criminal Games of the 70s. This is a French TV series? I have no idea. I mean, it's a 5 DVD set. It's 16 by 9. Agatha Christie's Criminal Games is the newest French TV adaptation of her novels. So Agatha Christie, which I love, never heard of this. It's French. You go, Kino Lorber, for putting this out. And I mean, they're buying all kinds of foreign titles that are amazing. So again, Kino Lorber putting out bangers. Then, not to be outdone, not Douglas Fairbanks Jr., but Douglas Fairbanks himself, new restorations of 4 Douglas Fairbanks movies. The Three Musketeers and The Iron Mask is one. And then there is also Robin Hood and The Black Pirate. Now, I mean, these go way back. Now, this Robin Hood is not the adventures of Robin Hood. This is the silent film Robin Hood with Douglas Fairbanks, not Junior. So again, Kino Lorber is putting out, they have an incredible dedication to classic films and especially silent movies. They put out some real bangers. I mean, Eureka's putting out Pandora's Box, but this stuff, very, very cool. Happy to get it. I'm always surprised. This is part of their Cohen film collection, which must be maybe there's some fund that's paying for the restoration of these things. Pretty cool. I'll take it. Now, here's other things. Now, these are interesting, too. So, Kino Lorber has started a new label called Kino Cult. And their Emmanuel film that I showed last week is part of Kino Cult, but these are numbered. And these are Phil Smoot's. I've never even seen these. I haven't seen these movies. But they're from the 80s. The first one is The Dark Power. Actually, this is Kino 3. The first one is Alien Outlaw. Now, I've not seen this movie, but this is Kino Cult number 2. But they star former Western star Lash LaRue. And these were made in the 80s, but Lash LaRue was famous in the 40s and 50s as being the man with the bullwhip. He was like the Western Indiana Jones. And I guess they brought him out of retirement, and Phil Smoot put him in these movies. And this one is called Alien Outlaw. And when a UFO crash lands in the Appalachian backcountry, it releases a squad of interstellar predators playing the most dangerous game with Earthlings. This predates Predator by a year. This came out in 86. 86. So this is the first. It's presented here in a director-approved 4K restoration. Just judging from the back, if you look at these stills, doesn't look like a very high-budget movie. But Kino has made this number 2 in their cult label. Number 3 in their cult label, this was shot on 16 millimeter, and this is, of course, The Dark Power.
Again,
I
stumbled across the cover.
Yeah, there you go. And The Dark Power. Weekend party plans are derailed when an ancient Toltec curse unleashes an army of zombies upon a house full of co-eds. Zombies, co-eds, and Lash LaRue. I don't know if... Yeah, he's in this too. So Phil Smoot, the Phil Smoot double feature, Lash LaRue, Kino Cult 2 and 3. And by the way, there's featurettes and special features and audio commentaries on here. The director does an audio commentary, and the cast and crew does an audio commentary. So, and the editor gets interviewed. So good on the editor. So there you go.
Always good to know.
But now Kino Lorber delivers the Halloween goods. A new version of Mario Bava's anthology movie, Boris Karloff in Black Sabbath. I love this movie. I've always loved this movie. It's a very cool, it's part of that 60s anthology stuff like the Amicus Vault of Horror and Tales from the Crypt, the actual movies, not the show. So it's great to have this. I have not put this on, although it doesn't say that this is a new restoration. Yeah. And usually Kino Lorber is really good about saying that.
Didn't you do an Elisa views about Black Sabbath?
No. We did an Elisa views about Black Sunday.
That was
Yeah,
the
Black
title,
Sunday is another Mario Bava movie. I believe does Black Sunday predate this? I'm not sure. I think it predates. It might not though. But I really love this movie, and a new version. But I don't know if it's a new transfer. They probably just got the rights and re-released it. But again, banger cover. Hey, you know what? Because it's Kino Lorber, and now that you've made me think about it, let's crack this puppy open and see if it has a reversible cover. Shall we?
Of course.
It does not, but that's okay. It's got a cool cover anyway.
Yeah.
So Black Sabbath, and then let's go to the 4Ks. The first and the one I watched, Red Dragon. Brett Ratner's Red Dragon in 4K. There's now the Hannibal Lecter trilogy. They went back and did this. This is the first book in Thomas Harris's not trilogy now. There's 4 books. But this was originally made in 1986 by Michael Mann as Manhunter with Will Graham, a post with William Peterson after To Live and Die in L.A. They made this. And, of course, they added more Hannibal Lecter to this story, which I understand. You see how Will Graham caught him. And you know what? I just think that I love Manhunter. This is fine. It's serviceable. But I don't think it's as good a movie. I think Brett Ratner is not as good a director, obviously, as Michael Mann. It's pretty by the numbers, and even though the cast does their all, the really, really good cast, I do think that Ed Norton is way miscast as Will Graham.
Okay.
But everyone's doing their best here. And I think it has a great Danny Elfman score. And they do keep the iconography, like the lower thirds, whenever they identify where they are. It's totally right out of Silence of the Lambs. They keep all of that in continuity, so you can watch this, Silence of the Lambs, and Hannibal. Even though he looks older in this, they didn't really de-age him at all. They did keep all of the special features, legacy special features, but this is in 4K, and it looks great. Nice. Obviously, there's problems with Kino Lorber's Silence of the Lambs that they released, and I think maybe they're putting on Manhunter, so they have the whole trilogy. And then this is a good following up on the heels of Kino Lorber's Needful Things, which was okay. It was not a great 4K transfer, but it was good, and I like Needful Things. Cujo, and
nice.
Here is, I think this movie is actually better than the book. Stephen King has said that he wrote Cujo, and he was a coke-fueled nightmare back then. He barely remembers writing this book. He was doing so many drugs, but I think this movie is actually better than the book. So Louis Teague directed it, and here it is in 4K, coming out from Kino Lorber, but I have not looked at this, so I haven't looked at the transfer yet. So that is my...
But I think they don't have the release, reach their release date yet. You got it early.
Yes, I did. I don't know when these are coming out, probably closer to Halloween week, I would imagine.
It was end of October, I believe, is the release date.
Yep. So there's that, and then I too have 2 more things to show. So,
okay, super chats, perhaps.
Yeah, let's see what we got in terms of super chats. Irene Jobson says, "My little sister shut down Blockbuster." So I never know if Irene is that a euphemism for something or true. Was she working at Blockbuster when it shut down? She said that's a bummer.
You always have to read between the lines.
With her, you really do. Alexander Wilson says a New York Times article on October 2nd said that Elemental was watched over 60 million times on streaming, and Disney's early estimates are that it will sell 800,000 physical and 1.7 million digital buys. Thoughts on those numbers? Well, Alexander Wilson is in love with this movie. Yeah, he's been talking about this movie since before it came out. They showed us the first 30 minutes in 3D at CinemaCon, and I really liked it.
Then I buy it? Then I would buy it, Rob, when it came out in 3D.
Yeah, I think the story's really interesting, and I really liked it. I think the big problem with the movie when it came out, even though every week after week it slowly eked out a pretty respectable box office, the movie did. I think people had a really hard time in their minds, how do you anthropomorphize water and fire and earth and air? But they did. They're like, hi, we're the fire people, and we live in this house. And I can understand how at first people are like, they didn't connect with it until you see the movie. Then you can connect with it, and that's why people are catching up to it. And I think it's great. So that's cool. Alexander Wilson goes on to say, have y'all watched
a nice chunk of change to add to the box office haul?
Yeah.
For the movie.
Alexander Wilson says, have you all watched the Disney Hulu Korean show Moving? It's it's winning major awards in Asia. Now, okay, I haven't watched it, and I don't know if it's the same show. The Moving that I know that I haven't seen that I want to see is a superhero show. Like these teenagers in high school they get superpowers or something. Maybe it's a different show. Maybe it's about people moving to a different house. I don't know. But there is a Korean show called Moving, but I didn't know where it was, or so maybe that's it, Alexander. If I'm thinking about something else, I have not seen it. Dieter, have you seen it?
No, it's on Hulu, you said.
Well, yeah, he says it's on Disney Plus and Hulu.
So it would be on Disney Plus here. I have not seen it, but I think I stumbled across it. And I think you are right, Rob. There was something about some superhero powers in it. But we could be wrong.
David Crabtree, our friend David Crabtree, who's working on his own comics, says, happy Physical Media Sunday. Here are my pickups for October so far.
Okay.
The 25th anniversary Starship Troopers 4K Steelbook. That's an amazing. That book, Steelbook's great. The transfer is great. Incredible. Ghostbusters 1 and 2 Steelbook that I showed that last week, which is great. Blu-rays of The Last Castle and The General's Daughter. Nice. And Diggstown, which is only available on DVD. Wow, I didn't know that. Goes on to say, maybe this is... I don't know if this is David Crabtree or somebody else. It says anonymous, but there's another David Crabtree.
Yeah.
But this one, he says, I flipped through YouTube and I came across a teen couple reacting to the original 12 Angry Men. At first, they made fun of it because it's black and white, and then they complained because it starred only white men. But as it played, they were compelled by the storytelling and absolutely loved it. 12 Angry Men is an amazing movie. Criterion put it out. I think I've told the story on the show there. I was at leadership camp between my junior and senior year of high school, and they showed us 12 Angry Men because we were all student government officials that were going to be student government of our high school. And in the movie, there was a girl named Dawn Bosselman, and she was Miss Pulsbo. And Don Bosselman kept trying to get all frisky with me during the movie. And again, I'm like, I'd never seen this movie before. I was totally, by the way, Don Bosselman was hot. And maybe she still is, I don't know. But this would have been the summer of 1984. So let me take you back 39 years. So Don Bosselman was getting frisky with me during this movie, and I put her off. I'm like, I'm not going to make out with you here in leadership class watching this movie. And we're supposed to learn about the reason they showed it to us was how to learn to reach a consensus amongst people that were arguing in a room. And the movie was great. So I totally understand why. I mean, it's too bad that they had to comment on the fact that a movie that was made when it was made, this movie's just full of white men. So what are you going to do? You have to wait until it proves to you that it's good before you watch it? What a world we live in. But it is a great movie, and I'm glad they
liked it.
Yeah, glad they liked it. So David Crabtree goes on to say, here's some of my physical media watch list for October. The full Scream series, The Burbs, Monster Squad, Clue, Poltergeist, Jeepers Creepers, Paranormal Activity 1 through 3, Love at First Bite, and Once Bitten. That's a pretty respectable list. It's a good list. Good picks. Mix. Yeah, I like that. It's diverse. Stub McShave says, speaking of physical media, maybe it's just me who cares about this, but have you gotten any new books? I actually have gotten. Well, that's funny that you asked me that. I have. Well, I got a bunch of Max Allan Collins books, but you know what I got?
Yeah.
I got this. This is not the kind of book that Stub McShave wants to read, but hey, I got this the new omnibus Avengers versus X-Men because I had the old hardcover, but I didn't have the omnibus, and I've been on an X-Men kick. So I got that, and I also got, as research for a project that I'm working on, it was suggested that I get this book. This is a nonfiction book called Of Boys and Men that I just got, called Why the Modern Male is Struggling, Why It Matters, and What to Do About It, by Richard Reeves. And it's interesting because I read his book, The Dream Hoarders, and it was funny because I didn't put two and two together, so I was told to get this book. It was suggested to me because, as again, I'm working on actually a screenplay, and I was told to get this book. So I haven't read this, but in terms of that, I got those things this week. So there you go. There we are. There it is then. So that's what I got. Did you get any books this week?
Actually, Rob, I totally forgot. I got one, but I have to pick it up. You go through the super chats. I pick up the book first.
Okay. Wait. You turned off his camera. There he looked. Dieter's gone. What's it like being there now? Okay. Let's see. Are there any super? No, I think we're okay. Here we go. Alexander Wilson goes on to say that Moving is the one with superpowers. He hasn't watched it yet, but it's blowing up in Asia. Yeah, I've heard it's supposed to be pretty great. Tom Jr. Jackson with a super chat says, Rob, I highly recommend the Kane Mutiny Court Martial. I watched it on Paramount Plus. Excellent film, and it felt almost like a stage play. Well, it felt like a stage play because it is a play.
There we go.
It was a play, and the Kane Mutiny Court Martial is an updated version of Herman Wouk's Kane Mutiny. It was turned into a movie with Humphrey Bogart, and it was William Friedkin's last movie that he made before he passed away, and so it's great. Yeah, so there you go. Okay. Adventure Square says that 12. Are you back? Can I put you back on camera?
Yeah, I'm back.
You're back. You're bad. Okay, you're mad. You're black. Okay. Adventure Square says 12 Angry Men is a movie you could show to aliens to give them a sense of our optimal goals and issues for communal living as humans. I think that's a great idea. Perhaps we could send it to a part of the world where people need to learn how to live communally as humans, but that's just me. Anyway, so we're caught up, sir.
Okay. My book that I got this week, Rob, comes from our friend David Kokel.
Oh, you know what? Already, I got this book too. I totally forgot about this.
Yeah.
David Kokel sent this book to me as well. Although it's up in the house.
Yeah. He did a second book, and it's called Taylor and the Ancients, that he did send to me, and as always, he signed it.
He sent it. Yes, he sent it to me too, and I told know what? I totally forgot. I totally forgot about that. It's actually in my media room.
Me too, Rob. But thanks to Stubble, that he reminded us of books. I thought, oh wait, I got a book from David this week.
Yes, so
David,
did I.
Thanks for your second book that you did send to me, and my last physical media that I got this week, Rob. The transfer is already controversial for a lot of people. I got the collector's edition of course.
Yeah, I still haven't got mine, and I didn't get my Rosemary's Baby either. That's also been controversial with some people. What did you think?
Is Rosemary's Baby already out, Rob?
Yes, it came out this week.
Okay. Rob, I watched the director's cut yesterday, and for me, but I'm speaking just of the full HD experience, the transfer is fine for me. It's always a movie that has a little bit of different variation considering the picture quality, but for me, there's nothing really big to complain about. It can look extremely, extremely good, but sometimes it's a little bit in the mid here. But perhaps what I would say, I think already the Blu-rays that even came out some years ago were already good-looking Blu-rays.
Yeah, they were great.
The Exorcist. So perhaps the the jump with the 4K is perhaps not that big as expected, perhaps for some people.
Well, it's got that documentary style. Some people were talking about that it was over stylized in some scenes, that there was blooming in the subway scenes. I'd have to see it myself. I don't, to be honest, I don't.
Yeah, but the subway scene, Rob, is not really that long.
Right. Yeah, I mean, I'd have to. I know that Elliot Cohen didn't
original
dig it.
cover artwork on the steelbook.
Look at that. Oh.
And there are 5 discs. 5 discs in it. 3 on this side and 2 on the left, because we get the theatrical version and the director's cut in 4K and Blu-ray and a little bit more bonus. And now let's see what we get in the swag bag. What Warner did put in it for us. So just see, okay, this is just the back of the case, and we get some nice picture cards of this masterpiece of a movie. Still love it. So Rob, but I think you said you prefer the theatrical version of the movie.
Yes, I
like them both, Rob. I actually don't have a favorite.
Here's the thing. There's a couple of scenes in, like, I don't like the spider walk, because I think the spider walk shatters verisimilitude, because it looks goofy.
Okay.
I don't think it looks convincing. I know why they put it back in there.
Yeah, they already, when you go to the bonus features, they got a little bit problem with the technicality of the wires.
Yeah, and it doesn't. I mean, I understand that they put it back in there. I get it. Because, look, The Exorcist is my favorite horror movie of all time, bar none. And the theatrical version, and I'll tell you, it's not that the acting isn't great. There's a great scene on the stairs outside of Reagan's bedroom where Father McNeil and Father Karras are talking. And the problem with that scene is Father Karras wants to know from Lancaster Marin why the girl.
Reagan.
Well, why Reagan? And they explain it. They give an explanation, he won't, and it's not that it's a bad scene, but it's like it should remain unexplained. One of the things about the movie is, for me at least, the corruption of that innocent soul. There is no reason behind it. It's in a way it's completely random, which is why it's so terrifying. But to give this and the explanation isn't that interesting, and it's a general, where you think to yourself, well, of course that's what it is. And I think it diminishes the film a little bit, because it's just too on the nose. It's too didactic. And then, there's a scene at the end that William Peter Blatty, who wrote the script and wrote the novel it's based on, didn't like seeing at the end. It gives it a more, if you could call it an upbeat ending or whatever. I just think that they take away from the film. They're not bad. It's not bad. I think the spider walk is bad.
I think Rob, help me out. The medical procedure is a little bit longer.
There's more. Yeah, there's more. And I'm like, the medical, especially the sound design, is horrifying. It's horrifying when you listen to that. So
yeah.
So,
but we get both versions. So great.
Yep. Another movie I've bought a million times.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, I've owned it on Laserdisc and
Story
on
of our life, Rob.
DVD
Story of our life.
Yeah, but
buying multiple copies over our lifetime of a movie.
Yeah, how many times you can buy it? And speaking of movies I bought a million times, but again, okay, here's the horrible thing about physical media. The last thing I'm going to show. Are you caught up?
I'm done, Rob. The Exorcist I saved for.
So for those of you who don't know, there's a company called the Film Vault, or it's part of, I think it's part of Vice or something. I don't know. Yeah. So they've been releasing. They released Jaws. They released The Shawshank Redemption. They released all these different. There's like 7 of them, and they have a new one that's come out. Yeah, there you go. And so they release, and I've been staying away from these, but I had to get this because it's 2001, and normally I don't like things.
I know. I saw it on Instagram.
So here it is.
Great.
And I saw this, and I'm like, okay, And here's the worst part. This is the worst part. Having bought this now, and this has the 4K in it, obviously. Having bought this, I now want all 6 that came before.
Yeah. There's the Jaws. They put out, I believe.
Yeah, they put out Jaws. They put out Shawshank. I think they put out Blade Runner. Now, first of all, I'm not one, like, I like Mondo posters and stuff. I'm not like one to go necessarily for new artwork. I always, but I've seen if the artwork is cool, if it's cool. And so here's, first of all, it's got the cover. You take the clear cover off. And obviously when you store these things, it's tough because these all get scratched up, obviously. And you've got everything that's in the back. But this is full of, now this has that Vinegar Syndrome, that cover with it's got a metal clasp right here. Yeah. By the way, here's the back, little Dave Bowman action. And the front. And I love this matte printing. So you open this bad boy up. And all the design work on this is beautiful. It's all the iconography of it. So let me just take everything out of here as because there's lots in here. So the first thing that you get is, this is obviously right out of the movie, the logic memory circuit, restricted access. So you open this up and it's got quotes. And by the way, when you take that out, here's what you get too. So up here is, and I don't even want to touch it, but I'll touch the sides. You get this. They used to put these like the original Warner Brothers Blade Runner and I Am Legend had this. This is the official seal. Like you got the little HAL thing. This is really cool. I don't know what you do. This is number 500. This is 5,921 of 6,000. But it's cool that each one of these is unique, like this crystal piece. Now again, do I need this crystal piece? No. But it's 2001, and it's it's Stanley Kubrick. It's my favorite director, and it's one of the most important science fiction films, if not ever made. So it's cool to have. And then on the inside of the package, you've got this mission is too important for me to let you jeopardize it. Everything in this is A-list. In terms of having 2001 deserves like the Criterion, dude. In the summer of 1988, when I first moved to LA, I went down to the Criterion offices on the beach in Santa Monica, and I picked up my 2001 CAV Laserdisc. Picked it up.
Ooh.
So here's what's in here. I haven't even opened this yet. So you've got, like you said, you've got the art cards. Yeah. You've got these film art cards, which are big, and then they've got quotes on the back. What do you think you're doing, Dave? And so now I don't know if this is a recreation of the actual
lobby cards.
Lobby card set. It might be there might be. No, there's 8 of them. The color printing on these is all off, though. It's all kind of like this weird stylized printing, but who cares? I don't care. And then there are posters. So you've got a double-sided. What's really interesting is you've got the very famous. The regular one sheet, which is this, and I think this is the C sheet on the back, if that's what you want. And again, I still haven't figured out what to do with all this stuff. And then there's the new artwork, which they've made into a poster, like a one-sheet version of the new artwork, in case you want that, which I think is pretty neat because it's just a different thing. So, and that all goes in this cool box, which goes in there. And now also in this box is here's the disc container. Ooh, and again, nice. The 2001 iconography is all over this thing. And again, look at this. Slides up and out. And again, you open it up, you got Space Station 1, and you've got the Pan Am Clipper. And then you open it up here, and it's Dave Bowman talking to Frank Poole, which is really neat. And then it opens up, and you have the 4K disc along with the special features. And obviously, you can tell this is a British disc. And what I love about the inside here, it's the memory wall of all of HAL's memory circuits. So the thing...
Rob, was there an 18 certificate on one disc?
No. No.
Look to me, the red one.
No.
Oh, 12, okay.
12.
Was
Now,
surprised.
what I really love, and I would say this, why when I got this film vault, I mean, look, there's really, if you really think about it from a collector's standpoint, why do you need this? And the answer is, you don't. Like, none of this stuff, it's all really kind of silly if you really think about it. However, when a company like whoever's making these film vaults, the film vault, maybe that's just the name of the company, and they're a part of whomever, whatever, I don't know. But the presentation of the film, the people that made this collection, it's so well thought out, and it shows because it's all done in the style of the movie itself. And if you look at the artwork they did for Jaws, for instance, it's redolent of the artwork is so good, and there's such respect for the film put into this. Now, even though there's only 7 of these, and you can still get them they didn't make very many. I think this was the most in 6,000. Most of them had much smaller print runs. But the people that did these, you get the 4K version. They're not giving you a new transfer. It's already the one that's out, which is already amazing. But the respect they show to the movie, it's like, I don't need another thing. This is the ultimate version of 2001 on disc. And after you own this, you don't have to, because this is where, 4K is where physical media goes to die, as we always know.
Perhaps the last one, the last time you purchased the movie.
No, I can guarantee you this will be the very last time that I buy 2001 in my life. And it's funny to me because I think about, I've lived in Los Angeles for 35 years, and I have a memory of buying this movie in the summer that I moved here. And it's not just a memory of buying the movie, it was going to the Criterion offices in Santa Monica, and having an adventure, because I'd been a Laserdisc retailer for 3 years. And then, by the way, you always you get finger prints on these too, so you have to use a thing and wipe it down. But it's like it's a weird thing. So you collect that, and do you need it? No. Is it awesome? Yes. Do I love having it? I do. So there you go. I do love that. Let's see. We got a bunch of super chats in. Sadhu says, I just got Collateral, the Back to the Future trilogy, Casablanca, and 1917. 4Ks. On my way to Best Buy to scoop up whatever I can. Then I'm playing Ghost of Tsushima once home.
Get your Best Buy Schnäppchens.
There you go, Sadhu. That sounds like a great afternoon for me. Thomas Logan says, guys, describe your first experience watching 2001. Well, I hate to say this. My first experience watching 2001 was on TV.
Probably mine too, Rob.
When I was a kid.
I can't remember what was the first time.
But the real first time was we had a Cinerama theater in Seattle. We still do. It was given to the Seattle Film Festival. But I saw my first real experience seeing 2001 was seeing it in 70 millimeter at our Cinerama theater. And it was a beautiful print on their giant screen. I want to say probably in the very early 80s. Very early 80s, which is the first time I saw it. And it was mind-blowing. I saw it 4 times. I went and saw it 4 times in the theater. It was mind-blowing.
The first time you saw it correctly.
Yes.
Instead of TV.
Yes, that's right. Danzig 1979 says, Rob, the BFI Exorcist is in stock at Amazon UK. Well, that's interesting.
But I'm not sure about that, Rob, because normally if it's not in stock, it says currently unavailable. And yes, there is the price tag at the moment, but I don't think you can order it. But I could be wrong.
Yeah, Danzig says that it's available. The Vixter, Vicky, has told me that it's been available. She said, "Oh, I can get it for you." And then she's like, "But I can't order it." And
yeah, that's the curiosity, Rob. There is the price, so normally you can order stuff. If it's not available, normally there is no price. It's just says currently unavailable. So it's a strange situation considering. Let
me see. Let's see. The Exorcist 4K.
70 pounds.
50th anniversary. Yeah, here it is. 70 pounds. There it is.
Yeah.
Delivers to
Normally, if you can't order it, it says currently unavailable. So you would think you can pre-order it because.
Dude, the pre-order is up.
Oh, okay.
You can pre-order it.
Okay.
It's going to be released next week. You can pre-order it for 70 pounds. And they ship to the U.S. They must have reprinted it because I love all the people that thought they were going to scalp theirs. Oh, wait a minute. Okay, so I just put this into checkout. I just hit pre-order. It says pre-order right now, right? Okay, hang on.
Yeah.
And this is regular Amazon. It doesn't say anything else.
No.
And let me hit it. And hold on. Amazon, there was a problem with some of the items in your order. We're sorry, this item is no longer available from the seller you selected.
That's the problem.
When applicable, we'll move it to the saved item selection of your shopping basket. From there, you can click the item to return to its product information. Yeah, so
that's what I told you. This is normally an item where you have the price tag you can order. If you can't order it, it says currently unavailable. So there's some strange shenanigans
strange kind
going
of
on.
love. A strange kind of feeling. That's a little Peter Murphy for you. So that sucks. Again, just a love. That's a microaggression.
Right.
That's a microaggression against me. I don't usually feel microaggressions. I've been microaggressed against. So fuck them.
So try it perhaps every day. Perhaps one day you get lucky and come through with an order.
Yeah, Bruno Mars, that shit. I'm going to get lucky. A World in Pajamas Tracy says, lads, I'm trying to forget the word exorcist. Only teasing. What are you both up to this evening? Well, I'll tell you. I'm going to listen to loud music and finish off Mr. JD. I mean, I think she's saying Jack Daniels. I have 3. I have to get a new Architects of Imagination up. I have to get a new Designing Hollywood finished. I also have to finish a trailer for Crisis Medicine because I am leaving to Portland. We'll be back next week, but I'm leaving to Portland on Tuesday to shoot for 5 days to shoot Crisis Medicine. So I won't be, loquacious. I'll try and do as much as I can tonight and tomorrow for observations. I've lost a lot of subscribers this week because people are mad about my position on Israel and this whole situation. A lot of people bailed on the channel, which I apologize for. But, what can I say?
And for me, Science Lady, my evening is done.
Right.
It's done, and I have to get up early.
Going to bed.
Yeah, after the show.
So we are caught up. I believe we are caught up. That is, I think we're all caught up.
Last one was from Science Lady about pajamas. We need a whole 2001 book series made for TV.
That's an interesting. I've often said, because Keir Dullea is still alive. If someone came to me, if I won the lottery and made $1 billion, here's the problem. I would remake 2010. I would remake it now and make it epic and really do what they couldn't do back in. I like 2010. But 2010, Peter Hyams added the tension between Russia and the United States. And in the book, they're going to beat the Chinese to Europa. And I think in a way that's become more relevant now than it was back then. You watch 2010 now and it seems rather dated, that aspects of it. 2010 has a lot of awe and wonder in it, but I think you could really go back, remake that movie now, and go back to the original book. And you could call it 2050 if you wanted to. And then the thing about 2061 is it's kind of an adventure all on Europa, but it's not. It's okay. And 3001 is for those of you who haven't read the book 3001, it basically says that the monoliths have malfunctioned, and that I don't like that. I don't like that the monoliths have malfunctioned. And what's really interesting, and Frank Poole, the astronaut that's set adrift in 2001, who's you think he's killed, was actually put into suspended animation because in space he's frozen. They revive him. he's frozen, so his body's still there, and they revive him 1,000 years later, and it's only okay. 2010 definitely remake, but maybe you could combine 2061 and 3001 into some TV miniseries. But I think that only 2001 and 2010 are the great books.
Okay.
But I've read 2061 and I've read 3001. And when I read 3001, I thought the first 40 pages about Frank Poole getting revived and all that was really great. But then the rest of the book pissed me off. I'm like, why do the monoliths have to malfunction? Why can't the monoliths just continue to be awesome? I mean, they compressed Jupiter into a star. But anyway, that's just me.
Okay. So are we caught up, Rob?
We're caught up, brother.
Okay. Then I would say the last Call of Duty is the live chat. Luckily not as big as usual, because there was half an hour only pitchforks and burn them at the stake. I didn't clip that out. I'll let that slide. Okay, here we go. Channel surf. Previously on Let's Get Physical Media. Channel surf. We live in Las Vegas. The Sphere is surreal to see from the outside. I can only imagine. Speaking of The Exorcist believer in theater, Guy Newby, I cancelled my ticket after seeing Kermot's review. Albion, those Halloween movies were meh at best. Speaking of the David Gordon Green trilogy, yeah, meh at best, exactly. Vegas Robocop was not thrilled with my Van Halen Sammy Hagar set. That is not Van Halen, terrible. Actually, Vegas, it is. One is a rock band and the other one is 3 musicians and a gigolo. There you go. Tim Hens, got to like the way he'd say "goddamn" in his German accent. Valerian Winterdrake wanted to know what is that Dune stuff in the back of last week. Well, those are my 2 steelbooks. One is for the 4K. I have to check. Yes, this is the 4K steelbook of Dune, and the other one is the 3D steelbook for Dune. Just see, yeah, the 3D version. So this is what was in the back last week. So, Guy Newby, I watched Cannibal Holocaust on 4K last night. It looked like it was shot in the last 10 years. Odd experience watching a video nasty in that quality. Exactly, Guy Newby. To see that old video nasties in that kind of quality is insane. And under Sick 83, I have a review of Cannibal Holocaust on my channel. Not only is it my number 1 favorite horror movie, but it is literally in my top 10 of best movies in general. Okay. And I forgot the context, but I think it was the Doom generation when Adventure Square said, this movie is fucked up, and I enjoyed most of it and hated the ending, but I don't know if...
The ending is the ending of Doom generation is very fucked up.
Okay, so I'm right with the context here. The Alex Sorber, did I call the movie trash? It must be beyond horrible. Speaking of, Rob always says, putting ninjas in your movies makes every movie better. Cronus Godwinson came with a nice title, Bridget Jones' Ninja Diaries. But speaking of rearranging my collection in this new great sleeves, I detected a movie where I thought, this is evidence, Rob. It's not 100% right. Not every movie is better with ninjas, because this was trash. Alien versus Ninja. So this should be a success, Rob. Should be Alien versus Ninja, but unfortunately, it.
Well, you have to try. I mean, that movie was that movie. If it was designed to be trash,
yeah, but trash, not the kind of. It's so bad.
You have to still aspire to greatness. Ninjas can only help you if you aspire to greatness.
Exactly. Question, Rob, for you from Hillcott. Rob, can you explain the line of reasoning where it's preferred to take private investment and lose equity in the production over accepting non-equity investments such as that of Kickstarter. I think he's referring to the 1999 campaign of your friend, where the Kickstarter campaign has shifted into now the documentary is getting financed.
Wait, hang on. Read that one more time.
Yeah, okay. Rob, can you explain the line of reasoning where it's preferred to take private investment and lose equity in the production over accepting non-equity investment such as that of Kickstarter?
Well, okay, with the 1999 documentary, it was not going to make its goal. It was not going to make its $500,000 goal. And with Kickstarter, it was all or nothing. However, the Kickstarter campaign, here's the thing about a movie like, okay, let me back up. On one hand, to go onto Kickstarter and make enough money to produce a movie is really great. It's great. The problem is, and hopefully you're not beholden to your investors other than giving them whatever your Kickstarter perks are promised. So say you want to make a movie for $1 million and you go onto Kickstarter and you make $1 million. All you have to do, your only obligation, is to give the Kickstarter people that donated to you whatever you promise, whether it's a premiere, whether it's a physical media copy, whether it's digital copies, whatever it is you promised them, that's what they've paid you for. And presumably on a low budget thing, you're going to use all the money to make the movie and then fulfill your perks. And then you're done. There's nothing else there. The thing about that is it doesn't guarantee that your movie's going to get seen anywhere. If your movie's not good enough or you don't have enough the kind of backing, it's totally down to your talent. In the case of the 1999 The Eagle Has Landed documentary that Jeffrey Morris wanted to do, he's very good he's a great filmmaker and he'll make it slick. And what was interesting was there were already entities that were interested in this project that had connections to distribution, like ITV. I don't know exactly who came in to fund it, but the Kickstarter campaign showed those people that there was enough interest in the project that they should make it. So, for instance, it wasn't that much money, and if ITV, that owns the rights to Space 1999, if they want to see this done, it can only up the profile of their ownership. So what ITV will do is they'll come in and go, okay, we'll pay for this documentary, and they'll be like, and we'll air it on UK TV and TV around the world. So it becomes programming that isn't that expensive. It'll probably be a 2-hour program, or they'll make it, if they're financing it, whatever they want it to be, 90 minutes, whatever, and then they own it. So what'll happen is they'll come in, and I think for $500,000, that budget makes sure that people get paid to now, will they get rich off it? No. But in the case of what Jeffrey Morris wanted to do, yeah, he wants to make the project and he wants to get paid. But in this case, you're not looking to get incredibly wealthy. So when you're talking at these levels, it's not like you're Taylor Swift and you're going to have $100 million opening and get rich. So whether the movie is private equity or whether it's crowdfunded, most people who are crowdfunding things are just looking to make their projects. Hopefully, like if you look at somebody like what Eric July did with his comic Isom, and if you haven't, I know that's become quite controversial lately, but Eric July did something interesting. He created a 96-page comic that he paid for himself. And he has his YouTube audience, and he leveraged his YouTube audience, and he made millions of dollars. Like, I think he made $3 or $4 million in his crowdfunding campaign, but he'd already made the comic. So after paying for his costs and shipping the comics and giving everybody what they wanted, he had now money left over to start his company, which was, he always said, I want to create the Rippaverse, because Young Rippa is it Young Rippa 69? I don't remember. Young Rippa was his online name. So he was creating the Rippaverse comic universe, and now he has enough money where he can continue to do that. And he crowdfunds the comics, and people support him, and he can actually put some money in his pocket doing that. But most people that are crowdfunding for movies aren't necessarily looking to get rich. They're looking to get their movies made, and hopefully the movies are good enough that they get recognized, like what Chris Stuckman did. Yeah. Chris Stuckman, if you look, Chris Stuckman's a perfect example. He wanted to make a film his whole life. It's his dream. He's written a few books. He has a great YouTube channel. He's been putting out great reviews and great content for a decade. So he goes and he raises enough money, but even he, finding out in post production, as many people do, he doesn't have enough money.
It's not enough.
It's not enough. He has to go back to fix things, because you want to do effects, you want to do, and he does. He had to go back to that well. So in his case, Shelby Oaks is the name of his movie,
Exactly.
and so when he has Shelby Oaks, what he's doing is his crowdfunding campaign. Everybody gets to be a part of it. He makes people a part of it. They feel like they get their money's worth. They're all going to get copies, and he'll have premieres or whatever. But what Chris Stuckman is hoping to do is that Shelby Oaks would bring him notoriety, and that by doing Shelby Oaks, that somebody will be like, hey, great, what's your next project? And here's the thing that I hope Chris Stuckman realizes. I hope he does. I haven't heard him say anything about this. I made this mistake myself. When you have made your movie and it's good, and you're playing at festivals, and you're giving everybody asks you the same question. All the people that might want to give you a job, they ask you the same question, and you better have an answer. And not only an answer, but the question is, what do you want to do next? I didn't know. And what happens is, Free Enterprise, when it played at festivals around the world, it got good notices. It won awards. I went to all these meetings. I called them Evian meetings. Would you like an Evian? Because that's all it was. Free water meetings, somebody else called them. I recently heard that. And you go to these meetings, and the thing is, most of the time you're meeting with people that can't greenlight your project anyway, so it's a monumental waste of time. If I'd known that, that's something else I would have done. I wouldn't just have gone to meeting after meeting after meeting. I'm like, no. I'm only meeting with people that can greenlight projects. Because when you're meeting with mid-level development executives, they think, you're meeting with me because I have to know who you are. You can't do fuck all for me. You don't greenlight projects. Fuck you. I mean, I wouldn't say that now, but I certainly wouldn't waste my time going to a bunch of stupid, meaningless meetings, and any filmmaker will tell you the same thing. If you've made a movie, and especially an independent movie that you've produced yourself and financed yourself, whether it was through crowdfunding or private equity, you shouldn't have to meet with a bunch of mid-level executives. Don't waste your time. You have to have those meetings. No, you don't. Go crowdfund your next movie or find private equity. Do not waste your time. I wasted a year driving all over LA, going to all these meetings, and I listened to, people's love problems, and it was such a waste of my time. And the thing is, I was represented by William Morris at that time, so your agents expect you to go to these meetings. And I should have been more egotistical and pushed back and said, look, I will go to any meeting you want as long as the people I'm meeting with can greenlight a movie. But the problem was, I didn't have a movie to greenlight because we were starting.
So hopefully Chris is watching.
Yeah, so I didn't, and I hope Chris does. I hope Chris has whatever he's going to do next. I hope he has it on that launch pad. So therein lies my lesson.
There you go. Rob, explain it, considering the finance of independent movies. Tim Hens, stop talking about Taylor Swift on the show, please. Giving me filthy thoughts about her, distracting me from physical media. Tommy Ricknell, can't believe my favorite childhood movie, Point Break, coming to 4K. James Woolard, Point Break looks great on Blu-ray, so I'm expecting great things on 4K. Tim Hens, Dieter, how do you randomly choose what comments to read out from the live chat? Well, Tim, I clip out a lot of stuff and then I filter it through, and something like Rob had to answer, I thought, is an interesting topic to talk about. So I'm always looking for, can I do something with this? Can I do a funny joke with it? So I just pick out what I think would be nice to bring to the table, to the show. And Irene Jobson said, I stand by deeds. I'm also kind of crazy, so you and I, Irene, park our shuttlecraft in the same shuttle bay. And Secular Monk, U571 is a great 4K transfer, well worth importing. And the last one to Europe. Hello all, hey Rob, do you ever think that there could be a release of Michael Mann's original for our cut of The Keep?
No, and I can tell you that for a fact. I actually went to a screening of Michael Mann's Thief and To Live and Die in L.A. 10 years ago, and Michael Mann spoke, and I was the idiot who raised my hand and asked that question. He has absolutely no interest in revisiting The Keep ever, As a matter of fact, I think he wants to keep it suppressed. He's so disappointed in it. But he talked about Roy Arbogast. So I think it's Roy Arbogast who did the effects, the creature effects. He called him a genius, and he said, I'd have to go back and redo those effects, and Roy Arbogast is no longer with us. So he's not interested. So I think what we have of the Keep is all we're ever going to have of the Keep until Michael Mann passes away, and somebody might look into it. It's going to be one of those things like the director's cut of Event Horizon. We're never going to get it. They can't find the negative. It's never going to happen. I hate to say
There
that.
you go. There you see, Tim. That was a post on the live chat that I thought would be interesting to bring up and ask Rob that question. So I'm through with the live chat one.
Blazin Asian sends in a super chat and says, I stand with you, Rob, and your position on Israel on a light. Well, thank you. I appreciate that. I mean, look, my position on Israel, which a lot of people objected to, in that, first of all, I don't know why anybody would object to what happened last week in Israeli territory. It's not like it was in long-standing Israeli territory. That whole argument around the world has been going on now for a very long time. Israel was born out of the Holocaust, and out of that, and having been to Israel is a technologically advanced democracy. Do I always agree with the position of the Israeli government? No. Do I agree with the Israeli government now? No. Do I agree with what they're doing in Gaza, bombing the shit out of it and causing a humanitarian crisis? I don't. And it's terrible. But the problem is this attack from Hamas is one of the most vicious, brutal terrorist actions we've seen in the modern age. And what was done, it's the slaughtering of whole families. And despite what anyone says, that is not Israeli policy. This was not an attack on military structures. And if you actually look at Israeli policy and how they've gone about doing everything that they've done, look at how much money has poured into Gaza from not just the United States and Israel, but around the world. And there's a lot of things that people miss. And the fact of the matter is, I believe in the Jewish state. I believe that the Jewish people, there's maybe 15 million people, staunch Jews left in the world. Maybe 15 million. The Nazi regime went a long way toward exterminating almost all of European Jewry. And the Muslim world, which is essentially what this comes down to, and let's be very clear, you have a group of people that don't believe in the existence of a Jewish state. Certainly not where it is in the world, and they never will. And Hamas will always want to destroy, and they're not the only ones. So Israel is facing an existential crisis, as the Jews are. In your own country, there's people spray painting Stars of David on certain Jewish homes. I have a movie that there had to be police outside, I think in Munich. There had to be, no one threatened Tango Shalom's opening, but the German government, I guess the Munich government, I don't know if it's a national police force, they put police, thank you to the German government for doing this, they put police outside theaters that were playing Tango Shalom, a movie that is about religious pluralism. And it's about interfaith dialogue. My favorite scene in that movie that I cut is between a Jewish rabbi and a Muslim imam. So when people talk about, I'm a right-wing, ideologue that wants to see the destruction. No, I don't. I'm also, though, a civilizationist. It's like who is best? You need to also help your own people, and Hamas has not done that. And it's been very telling, and I've been very disappointed in a lot of the response I've seen from people that I really like about this, because they're the brutal slaying of, and by the way, Thai nationals, people around the world, Germans, there have been people that have been killed in Israel from all around the world, and the silence has been deafening. And it's a bummer. It's a bummer. But I'm a civilizationist. Let's and what's happening in Gaza, the humanitarian crisis, in my mind, Israel is creating martyrs for the next 100 years, and it's unfortunate. And I wish there was but after the brutality, there was nothing they could have done. The slaughter of 1,300 people at the bare hands of their attackers, rape, murder, whole families exterminated. The horror of what went on there. And I'm not saying that does that equivocate between bombing, aerial bombing. No, but Israelis are not really prone going house to house, exterminating whole families. And it's, when the scope, because the Israelis document all this, it's going to be ugly when it comes out. It's ugly right now. And do I think, again, I just want to be clear. I've said this on my show for the half decade I've been on Robservations. The most precious resource on this planet is every human being, every individual human being. And the premature loss of a human life is not a tragedy just for us as human beings, but for the universe. Because right now, human beings are the only people that can recognize the vast infinitude of the universe. And why does that matter? Maybe it doesn't matter as much now, but it will matter. And the people that are lost today are people that can't create the people for tomorrow and can't keep. It's the loss of one life needlessly is a universal tragedy. But what's going on right now is needless, and it is a tremendous tragedy. And for anyone that watches my channel, they know that I feel that way. But it has been incredibly frustrating watching the response to this, because it was precipitated by one of the most brutal and barbaric terrorist attacks in history. And if you look at the amount of people that live in Israel compared to the amount of people that say live in the United States, this was 10 times, if you look at it just from numbers, in terms of population that lives there and population lost. And the way it was done is way more extreme than 9/11 in terms of numbers. And it's terrible. It's terrible. I will leave it there. But Blazing Asian goes on to say, on a lighter note, Dark Harvest is the best horror movie I've seen this year. Check it out. Now, have you heard? Okay,
nice.
Have you heard of Dark Harvest? Have you heard of this?
I have heard about it, and it's strangely, Rob, it is on Amazon Prime here.
Okay, now it was directed by David Slade. David Slade directed Hard Candy, 30 Days of Night, the Twilight movie Eclipse. He directed Bandersnatch, which was the multiple Black Mirror episode. He's directed a ton of music videos. Now, this is based on a novel by Norman Partridge that I don't know. But there's some entity that lives in the cornfield or something. Like, I don't.
I heard good things about it, but I don't know anything about the story.
I don't know anything about it either. I mean, is it a movie that's going to surprise me like The Empty Man did?
We'll go in blind.
Yeah, I'm going in blind, but I want to watch it. And a lot of people are talking about that, how it's really good. Joe Blow did a Dark Harvest review, and they did say it was frustrating, but, we'll see. I mean, I'll watch it, but a lot of people are saying it's really, really good. We shall see, Deets. We shall see.
Bill Barclay wants to know, Rob, if you have seen Doom Patrol, the new season, the latest episodes.
No, I didn't even know a new season dropped. That's how much I've been paying attention.
Yeah, attention to.
No, I did not know. I did not know. Thomas Logan says, watching Killers of the Flower Moon in IMAX on Thursday night. I would love to be doing that.
I know, Thomas. I know.
I will be in Portland, and I've always wanted to go to the Hollywood Theater and see a movie there. And why not see a 3.5-hour Martin Scorsese movie there?
There you go.
I got to call and find out if that's an option. We shall see. And then finally, Vegas RoboCop says, there's no other place to stand, Rob. I don't know if you mean about Israel or in Las Vegas. RoboCop has to take a stand. And, but yeah, I appreciate, either way, I appreciate both of those things. So that's very, very, very exciting. So we're caught up. We're caught up, man.
Yeah. Because we have to go to the final stretch, Rob. Ja, I gotta go. So I have to say, jede Person, die du triffst, hat eine Geschichte zu erzählen, die du noch zu hören hast. Alles, was du tun musst, ist zuhören.
Well, what he just said was, every person you meet has a story to tell that you have yet to hear, and all you have to do is listen. I want to thank my great moderators. I want to thank Tom Jr. Jackson. I want to thank, if he's here, Justin Toner, Lord Toth, everybody that watches this show. I want to thank you so much for being here. It's great to have you. Justin, and let's see, I just want to make sure. I don't know if Lord Toth is here. I don't see Lord Toth. But hey, if
He is here. He is here.
Oh, then
He is here.
Lord Toth is here, and I just
Lord
like saying
Toth.
Lord Toth. Thanks for being here. I want to thank Judge Doug Rasmussen for becoming a new member. I don't think I called Doug Rasmussen out.
Yeah.
But thank you, Doug, for becoming a new member of the channel. There will not be a member call next week on Saturday because I will not be here. I will be traveling. Maybe we'll do it after the show. I have to check with Roberto Suarez, but hopefully who I can see when I go up to Portland. I'm really looking forward to seeing him if possible. And so, yeah. So there we go. We'll be back next week. Hey.
Yeah. Yeah. With more physical media, hopefully.
All right, everybody. Keep them spinning. And we are out.